for us to get on there.
Yeah, we've been here. We're just
I always forget which mic Tony is.
I feel like I'm a little low. Can you turn me up a little bit?
turn it up.
Can you turn me up in
check.
those
There
headphones,
we
dog?
go. There we go. Turn me in my headphones. Welcome in. A 3-hour show.
Yes, we got
Padre off day, and we got a round table coming up at 5:00. Scrabes Chronicles to follow that.
Got a pack show tonight.
Pack show. It's an appreciation day, I hear.
Apparently now that I do it once a week, every show's an appreciation show for one of the Padres players, and today it's Manny Machado.
All right. So
I don't know how you're going to find anything good to say about him.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, Chris. I'm going to have to dig deep.
He's balling. Padres.
Was he 2 for 2, 2 walks on base every time?
Yep.
Can you please give him one Gold Glove? It's like it's my life's goal to get him another Gold Glove. He's playing so great. Ugh. Man, he's fun to watch.
It's gonna happen.
How about he raced over from shortstop last night and caught a pop-up in front of the third base dugout and made it look like it was a piece of cake? He ran about 70 yards to catch that pop-up.
Padres get the series victory yesterday, taking down the Angels. They've won their last 2 series, and now a good Seattle Mariners team coming into town. They've
No, they're good.
What the heck was that?
Well, I'm saying they're good, but we're good. So, I'm not worried.
Oh, okay. So Chris is not worried. Nobody wasn't really insinuating anybody should be worried.
Okay.
I was just making the point that it's a good team coming to town. Should be a fun matchup. What do you guys got? How's your day today?
It's good. It's really good. It was my day was buoyed by a couple of different things. One, the arrival of my hat here. People see on the chat. I was telling my mother-in-law about the famous Montreal Expo logo, which my regular mother discovered when I was a kid actually spells out our last name, ELLO. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's right. So I've always loved this logo. So she got me a hat. I thought that was nice. She just kind of surprised me with it. So I'm wearing the hat in her honor.
That's
today.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they still make. Honestly, I'm not, because the team hasn't been
throwback.
around in over like 20 years.
It's still a pretty popular hat,
people
though.
still
You see
wanna
these
buy it.
hats. Yeah, these Expo hats, I think, were always kind of fun. But the second thing that gave me a charge today was seeing that Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Xander Schauffele, probably the 3 greatest golfers on the planet, or pretty darn close to it if they're not. All 3 of them double bogeyed the 16th hole today, playing together in one group.
That doesn't happen often.
Scotty Scheffler had honors on the 16th tee. He also had honors on the 17th tee after a double bogey.
Wow.
And he said, well, that's never happened before.
Honors?
Honors
Well, you
means
get to go first.
Technically,
Whoever
the
gets
person
the
who has
best
the best score.
Yeah, whoever gets the best score on the previous hole goes first.
But I would like to say to all the amateur golfers out there, it's ready golf. There's no such thing as waiting for the best score.
No, the rest of us can play ready golf.
And the pros, that's
how they determine who goes first on the next hole. So
Gotcha.
For all 3 guys to get a double bogey.
I didn't know that it was called
honors.
Yeah,
I think it is.
It's very pretentious.
Well, you know me. I mean, I wasn't born and raised in Beverly Hills for nothing. How pretentious I can be.
Chris, you have the honor.
I have honors. Yes, but anyway, so that's got to make any golfer feel a little better. To hear all 3 guys on the same hole made a mockery of the course there. And but no, anyway, Scheffler, as you might expect, has come back. Now I think he finished at -2 for the day. Schauffele finished at -1, so they recovered. I don't think Rory recovered, Scrape. He's off to a bad start.
He doesn't need to. He won the Masters. That's all
he
gets.
That's all he needs.
Okay.
He gets that career Grand Slam.
We'll be soon saying he's washed because he's not doing anything.
Because apparently he didn't think he needs to win here either because he's at like +3 after
Well,
the first
I will
day,
say that
so.
he's won at this course in a regular PGA Tour tournament a couple times, so I wouldn't count him out.
He's way behind. He's like 9 shots back.
I
already.
wouldn't count him out.
Okay.
But 9 shots is a lot.
Now that you're, if you're adamant about it, I won't count him out. Just like you can't count out the Padres and the bullpen. It's funny. After a week of disaster, last night seemed like every other game this year, didn't it, Tony?
Yep.
Get out to a nice lead. I'm not going to even mention to the Xander fans that he hit a 3-run homer. I'll let you deal with that, how you want to deal with it. But, the pitching, Vasquez is, he is – I'm going to pull a Gwynn and Chris show listener here. I'll take credit for Vasquez turning it around because I was so hard on him earlier for not throwing strikes. That's what our listeners would do. They go, well, Xander just has a good game because, he doesn't want to hear me rip him anymore. Now, that's stupid. And so I'm being stupid by thinking that I have something to do.
You're going to join along.
Yeah, right. I'll be stupid too. But no, we've said it, right? If Vasquez throws strikes, he had 1 walk yesterday. And again, second start in a row. And this guy's hard to hit. So it was great.
He, third inning, I think, got to the third before he got the first walk. And
and it was almost a pitch around, too, because there was a runner on third.
It definitely felt like he was being extra careful.
Yeah.
Listen, it's come against the Rockies and
the Angels.
The Angels.
Yeah, okay.
But still, I mean, he hadn't really shown the ability to do this in any start. So
right.
I think that is the takeaway, is that he certainly seems like he's on the attack and he's very aware of the walk. It just seems like he's dialed in right now. He's pitching with a different confidence too. The last three starts, even in the Pittsburgh start, where he still had 5 walks, I believe it was, in that Pittsburgh start.
Right.
He's
still more attack.
He still was on the attack more.
It's interesting. He's given up 3 runs in his last 2 starts, 2 to the Rockies, 1 yesterday.
All solo
home runs. Yeah. What that tells me is that what you just said, he doesn't mind throwing a strike.
It's also helped that his team has gotten him a nice little cushion to start the game off.
They got him 32 runs in the Rocky game. They only got him 3 last night.
He's had a total of 24 runs scored for him in his start.
But and for the life of all of us, didn't we think Jackson Merrill caught that ball? I know Jackson thought he was going to catch it.
I did not. Well, I saw that he didn't.
Oh, I could tell. I couldn't tell.
I could tell. He got his glove up a little late because he kind of didn't get the best jump on that one. Yeah. But if he had a clean jump, I have no doubt he would have got to the wall and would have been able to bring it back.
Yeah. But the highlight of the night was, right, the bullpen facing 10 batters and retiring 9, and Suarez getting right back up there and riding the horse again and looking like Suarez. That is what you take going forward from all of that.
I mean, it could, no matter what happened yesterday or day before yesterday, he wasn't going to be able to pitch. He threw 33 pitches.
We knew he couldn't pitch. Right. Yeah.
So it was like perfect timing, and it just so happened that the Padres pushed the lead out a little bit more, where it was no longer a safe situation, right?
In other words,
but you still let him go out there and kind of get that bad taste out of his mouth after he had a hard time really being able to throw strikes.
Yeah, no, it's good. And look, the Dodgers were able to keep the pace there, but you're only a half game behind. You're 1 game. This is a little bit of trivia for if you just sit down somewhere tonight. Ask somebody out there who has the best record in baseball. I don't know if too many people are going to say the Tigers. Yeah, but the Tigers is the answer.
And that 2 out of 3 series loss doesn't look as bad as it did at that one point.
By the way, Tony, as a center fielder, did you see the catch that the Red Sox combined to make?
It was nice.
You're not going to ever see that again, don't you think? No, did you see it, Scrape?
Yeah, I did.
Right fielder reaches over the fence, gets his glove and bats it back in, and the center fielder's kind of watching him and goes, "Oh," and catches it. That was a hell of a play.
That was money. That's a play we'll be seeing for a little bit. Yeah. One last piece of good news before we get to break. It sounds like Mr. Yu Darvish is starting to get closer. An efficient 4-inning rehab start in El Paso. The 38-year-old threw 51 pitches over 4 innings in a rehab start against the AAA Las Vegas team. 37 pitches were strikes. He struck out 4, walked 1, allowed a 2-run homer in the first, and one of Pacific Coast League's friendly hitting environments.
Yeah, probably a pop-up somewhere.
After the free pass, Darvish allowed just 1 other hit in the start, a single to start the second. So Darvish starting to get closer. He's starting to get closer.
Well, that is, And what are you going to do, Tony, when he's ready? Are you going to – I mean, Kolek hasn't given up a run yet. We just talked about Vasquez.
Yeah, no, I think
Kolek will go down.
Kolek will go down. Or you might move him to the bullpen.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to move him to the bullpen at this point. I mean, the starting
he's
experiment is going your way, and Nice to have another guy you could lean on if you need one.
He's got the
And
feel.
matter of fact, you will need another arm down the stretch anyway. So
no question. Yeah, I think what they're going to do, because I think you mentioned this the other day. I think they might not a 6-man rotation.
Yeah,
but they may send Kolek up and down a little bit and have him start a couple of times so that Darvish can ease his way into it.
There will be breaks in the schedule where you can kind of mix it in and do that type of deal. So
yeah,
we'll see. But it's nice that this team is almost getting back to fully healthy for the first time all season once Darv comes back. All right, let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the way. Hey, everyone. Tony.
It has to do with average temperatures in the year 2024. And this is the average temperature, maximum per day, minimum per day. It is going to be your job today to find the 25 states whose average temperature is under 55 degrees. California's at 60. You're looking for anything under 55. I'm not going to let you go first. I'm going to give Tony first.
Let's start with Montana.
That is correct.
Montana.
Montana's the 4th coldest state in the U.S., 44.5 degrees average temperature. All right, Scrappy, that leaves a really obvious one for you. I gave Tony first. He didn't take it, so you can.
I don't know that these are that obvious to any of us.
All right,
Chris.
Well, I think one is obvious.
Alaska.
I think. Thought Alaska was pretty obvious. 27.8 degrees average temperature in Alaska. 16 degrees colder than any other state. Tony's up.
Washington, the state.
State of Washington is on the list at 48.4. So Tony takes a 2-1 lead. Scraby, give me a cold state.
Maine.
Tony, you're up 2-2.
How about Idaho?
Idaho's pretty cold. Cold enough at 45.5, 7th coldest in the U.S.
Well, it's my favorite state to say. Minnesota.
Yeah, that was kind of obvious. Same as Idaho. Minnesota, 45.5, Tony.
How about North Dakota?
North Dakota, there you
Dakota.
Go. You found it, number 2. 43.7 there.
I'll take the lesser-known Dakota. The
South Dakota.
I think it's the more-known Dakota.
Yeah, I would think it's more. Tony, you are up in a 4-4 tie with no strikes yet.
How about Oregon?
Oregon, believe it or not, Oregon's cold enough to make the list. Tony's 5, Scraby's 4.
Never been here, but I knew someone from here and said it's very cold. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's cold. Tony.
How about Vermont?
Vermont's cold, and it's right next to New Hampshire, so that was good. 46.3. Tony goes up 6-5.
How about Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be in there. Just below. Tony, you're up.
We're going to move to Wisconsin's neighbor. How about a little Illinois?
Oh.
How about a little Illinois? Little Illinois didn't make it. You can get your first lead of the day here.
A state that I've been to, a state that has beautiful scenery, Wyoming.
That's number 3, Wyoming, 44.3. I can definitely second that.
Laramie is like the
notion, having been there every year to Laramie. It's cold. Tony.
Iowa.
Iowa.
That's a great one.
Is it?
Has to be on there.
51.5. Iowa just snuck in there.
I'm going to bank on the part of the state that's not attached to the paw is cold. Michigan.
Michigan is a winner. Very good. The Upper Peninsula you're referring to.
The pod.
How about Utah?
Utah, Salt Lake City and company. Yep,
Park
it's
City.
cold there. 51.2. That is correct. Tony hits it. 8-8. The only difference is Tony's got a strike.
Nueva York.
Nueva York.
New York for Chris.
It does get cold there in New York. 49 degrees average temperature in New York is Tony.
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
What about Ohio?
You ready to come up with an answer, Scraby?
Ohio.
Too hot.
I
Too
know.
hot.
I was thinking that because it's next to Illinois, but I live
Too
there and
hot.
it snowed.
Is that what you want, Ohio?
Yeah.
54.9.
Oh,
It's the last one on there. Scraby goes up 10-9.
how about a little Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
frigid old Pennsylvania.
Frigid old Pennsylvania.
Home of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg. And cold enough at 52.1 to make the list.
Pennsylvania, baby.
10-10.
Massachusetts?
It has not been said. Doesn't mean it's correct, but it is 51.2. Scraby hits a bell.
Massachusetts.
11-10. Tony, you're up.
Oh man, this is hard.
There are 4 left.
Cold. How about Indiana?
Oh.
Indiana. No, Tony. It's a strike. 55.2. Indiana just over by 0.2.
Some of the cold spots in the country are in the plains. Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah. Lincoln. That's all I got on Nebraska.
Scraby's doing okay. That's correct.
Wow!
52 degrees.
Colorado.
Colorado. Scraby for the win.
One of the most forgotten places in the United States
Is in our Odyssey Palace studios this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Frozen Ropes San Diego. Hey parents, here's a message from Coach Kurt with Frozen Ropes. Is your child 6 to 12 years old? Our Baseball Summer League is the perfect fit for your player starting June 16th through August 17th. Summer League includes 8 practices, 8 games. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That's SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. Padres are off today, ready, as Tony mentioned, to begin the Vetter Cup against the Mariners tomorrow.
Your camera.
My camera's
That's one.
cattywampus.
But the other thing, did you see the sheriff today?
Paddock again?
Yes.
7 inning of Shuddy.
Yep.
Well, he had 6 no-hit innings his last outing after an 0-3 start. Paddock is back in form. The Twins have won 11 in a row, by the way.
Yes, they have.
With
Just
that,
swept the
4-0.
Orioles, who are
Boy,
now
the Orioles. You know, we talk about all the bad teams in baseball, but those teams are all supposed to be bad. The Orioles are not supposed to be bad.
No, they're not.
So
Did you guys see Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton ran into each other?
Again?
Yeah.
that
It's
Hoyt.
pretty big. That Hoyt.
Yeah.
it was a good
Or as
collision.
Tommy Boy would say, that'll leave a mark.
The guys come out of the game?
I think they
yes,
did.
yes.
Yeah, I think they did. That'll leave a mark. All right, so baseball, but other than that and a few other games here and there, it's kind of a quiet day in baseball. Yesterday was the big schedule reveal in the National Football League. Again, I seem to be the only one interested. Scraby said he had no interest
Didn't even look at the rest of the 49ers schedule
in
last
the
night.
release of the schedule.
Didn't even look.
Dang, Correa looked like he was knocked out.
Oh, we're back to
Sorry, I just
No,
was
that's
watching
fine.
it.
That's fine.
I would put
He caught it too.
Chris,
by the
your
way.
camera went cattywampus again.
What the heck?
Caught it too.
Come on.
I know.
Buxton.
I know. Buxton.
Buxton caught the ball.
Poor
Yeah.
Buxton is always hurt.
Yeah, he's been going good.
Since we're on this subject, Tony, your worst collision as a major leaguer, or did you get away without one?
While he's thinking, I'll say the right field grass in Toronto was his.
Okay, that wasn't nice.
The turf monster took him down.
That was not nice.
That's real though.
I'm just watching Toronto right now, so I thought of it.
I don't know that I think I've avoided all of the. I
You
remember
didn't
one
have a
time
bad
me
one?
and Venable came together on a ball in the gap,
Hmm.
and at the last second he jumped, and I caught it, and I was able to kind of then plant and jump over him. But that one was probably the closest I've been. I've been able to avoid serious.
Did
collisions.
you ever, you can tell us now, did you ever alligator arm one because you thought of a collision or you're going to run into the wall?
I'll never forget. It was my first ever. It was in Colorado, ironically.
Yeah.
I think Francisco Cordero was our closer for the Brewers. If I'm not mistaken.
I remember old Francisco.
He came in, and Todd Helton comes up to the plate, and Brady Clark is playing right field. I'm playing center. They had just brought me in for the defensive replacement, and it's bottom of the ninth. We're up. It's a save situation, and Helton hits a ball in the right center field gap. And what I remember is, from the corner of my eye as I'm chasing this ball, I see Brady like
huffing and puffing.
I just
like the guy from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
I will get you, shooter.
And he kept coming, and I'm sure. I mean, this is when Colorado was good, so the place was packed.
Yeah,
it was loud, and I'm sure he didn't hear me. I could just feel him, and so I alligator armed it. Kind of went off my glove.
Oh boy,
fell down. And then as I looked at him, he had stopped. It was just it was in my head.
He was like,
point.
I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Thankfully, my man Cordero got me out of
coverage.
Still got to say.
How many let me start that over. I just stuttered like crazy. How many outfielders do you think in Major League Baseball have no fear and will just?
I think the more you're in those situations, the less you worry about,
because the guys are
not
looking
only
out for
that,
you.
I was a rookie, so it was like having the command to come in and be like, "I got it, get out of the way."
Yeah,
I hadn't quite.
I mean, if you're playing behind Robin Yount or something, and not that you played with him, but somebody of that ilk, though, you wouldn't want to call him off a ball, maybe.
Right. We asked Tyler Wade a few weeks ago, or I asked Tyler Wade, like, what's it like to call off Fernando, a platinum glover? And he's like, hey, I'm the center fielder. I'm the boss. I had a better look, so I'm going to tell him.
And that's right. Wade has also been in the league for a little bit. He's not a young dude. Now, if you would have asked a young dude coming in that's trying to make his way, he'd be like, hey, you think about it for a sec.
Yeah. By the way, here to Brandon Lockridge. That was a key hit he got last night.
Yes, sir.
To help the Padres win that ball game. But on the NFL schedule that Scraby hasn't looked at, the NFL was in defense mode today because the Steelers are opening the season against the Jets. And later in the year, when the Steelers play the Packers, they chose that for Sunday Night Football. So people are thinking
Steelers at Green Bay.
Right.
Yeah,
so people are thinking, does the NFL know something about Aaron Rodgers?
And they took the bait too.
And so the NFL said, get out of here. We didn't know anything. But
they should have never said anything. Of course they did, but they took the bait.
They took the bait and they said, oh, no, this is all for Mike Tomlin. Look, we don't believe that either.
Right.
Steelers Jets is pretty juicy if Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Steelers. So why not put it in week 1 right in the headline game?
Would it be crazy for me to say I don't think he's going to play again?
Yeah, no, I don't know that it's going to happen.
I don't think it'd be crazy.
No. Yeah, I don't know that it's going to happen, but the NFL's defending itself from that. I think the other game, and then, the whole season, there's good games, great games, this, that, and the other. But one other tasty matchup is in week 10, and I believe they put that on Monday or Sunday night. It'll be the Packers against the Eagles. The reason that sounds fun is they're going to vote. I don't know if you're aware of this, if everybody remembers. They're going to vote in less than 2 weeks.
The tush push.
Whether or not to outlaw the tush push. And if it gets outlawed, it's the Packers' fault. Because they're the ones that
Bay's
brought it
out there politicking out there.
Yes. So
that means the Eagles should just tush push the entire game.
They should.
They just be like, you can't stop it. Here we go.
It's just like drive
if they don't outlaw.
Yeah.
Drive the point home.
Just like we're just going to run this all
This is why these guys didn't want us to be able
First
to do
and 10. What's Jalen Hurts doing there? Hang on.
He's tush pushing for 3 yards.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right. So the NFL schedule's out. You can find your favorite team somewhere and check into that. The NBA playoffs last night. To our dismay, the Celtics stayed alive. Jaylen Brown did play well, but the guy that really saved them was Derek White.
Yes.
What a game he had, knocking everything he could in. And Brunson, unfortunately for him, they didn't keep it close enough for him to take over the game
in the fourth. Yeah.
No, so Celtics are still alive. The Warriors, though, are not.
They go.
And they just had. We said it. They had no chance without Steph and the T-Wolves. I will say this, Tony. We were critical. I was way more critical. You said let's wait. And I was critical all year. I said the T-Wolves screwed up. They shouldn't have traded Cat for Randall. Guess what? Randall's balling right now.
He's been balling for a while. He was the main problem in the Lakers series. They had no answer for him.
Randall has been great. Cat's been still good for the Knicks, but Randall has really come into his own here.
I honestly felt bad for LeBron having to guard him because he was
he's strong.
He was just like a bull in the china shop.
Yes.
Boom,
he made a move.
Boom.
He made a move last night, and the elbow caught the guy, and it was a foul on Randall. And the guy was down for a couple of minutes.
It's like, do you want to do that?
And Randall was like, "Oh, did I hit you?" Like he didn't even notice it. Like he's just
big. It took him a while to get going, but once he got going, it's been tough.
And here's the other criticism that may not be able to criticize as much. But we all, and not just us, everybody, lambasted the Nuggets for firing their coach. Well, they beat the Clippers, and I know they're down 3-2, but tonight they got a chance to force a Game 7. They're playing pretty well, without Michael Malone.
I don't think
maybe
anybody
they knew something that, the rest of us thought we knew.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who thought they would get to this point after firing their coach, 5 games
before the end of the season.
Ended?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, they but the interesting thing is and this is why you got to take these reports with a grain of salt, right? The thing that kept being reported was that they wanted the young guys to play. The rotation hasn't changed at all.
I don't think so.
It's the same exact guys playing.
Are you going to tell me that it's not Jokic and Murray that are leading him to this
100%.
point?
I mean, Westbrook is still playing all the minutes he was playing when Malone was there.
Yeah.
So
The bad news for the Nuggets, though, Jamal Murray, speaking of him, is on the injury report for tonight's game now. He's got an illness.
Oh, he's playing.
So, yeah, he'll find a way, I would think, because their season is on the line. But,
don't Jimmy Butler yourself.
Jimmy Butler's taking a little heat right now because
what happened with Jimmy?
No, he didn't do his usual Jimmy Butler. But we said correctly that once Steph is out, you can now funnel 3 guys to Jimmy Butler. And that's what they did.
And that's the other thing about the T-Wood. They don't even need to funnel 3 guys. They got McDaniels.
Yes, McDaniels can guard you by himself.
And then you got the other long-armed dude that looks just like McDaniels. Like,
right.
They are I can see them winning a title. That's how good they're playing right now. They got a bona fide dude in Edwards. You got really, 3 like top-end defenders in McDaniels and the 2 named gentlemen, and then Gobert.
You're talking about what is it?
The 2 named gentlemen.
No, Anderson Walker, I think it is. Anyway, his name takes
his whole jersey.
Yeah. So, and if they make a mistake, Gobert is one of the few
that's what I said. They got all 3 of them in.
Paint.
Yeah. So
and
then you got Julius, who can do.
Julius is on a roll.
Yeah. So they got a good squad.
They do. We'll see OKC and Denver tonight in Game 6. All right, we'll take a quick timeout here. Let's see. Oh, we got our MLS interview today.
We do have that.
And did they win? By
yes.
the way, they were
yes, they did.
I didn't see the final.
Yes.
They did? Okay.
Yeah.
So SDFC won again last night.
And he was on the call last night.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark Followill is his name. We'll have him in the 3:00 hour. In the meantime, we will, continue with the chit chat here. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby. Thanks for being with us on 97.3 The Fan. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero, never met a pitch he couldn't swing at, and powerhouse hitter for the Expos, and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs. mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, oh yeah, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers. I mean, we're at each other's throats again during the break. You know, me and Scraby, you're out, not involved. Turn his mic on.
It's on.
It is.
Oh,
It's
it's
on.
on.
It's
Oh,
on.
you're getting the camera going.
I was getting my camera right.
By the way, you can watch us on YouTube if you just search 97.3 The Fan while you're at YouTube.com.
I have a couple complaints here.
Oh, no.
Complaint department is open.
You know,
Wow.
Scraby usually keeps this bad boy open, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop one in today. There's too much food here when someone is trying to.
Yeah.
Be on a diet.
Hardest thing about SD Fat Loss is not the actual program. It's surviving the people around you.
It's really not. It's really
Yes.
not cool.
I just opened up some chicken wings from the round table,
And of course-
and they're smelling up the whole room. So
First of all, they're
I
not
get it.
smelling up the whole room.
They are.
So
They
I
are.
got a nose for wings, and I don't smell it. Right. Secondly, Scraby had a problem with you having wings, and he comes up with these weird.
He has a problem
rules.
with me doing everything.
He
We've
does.
already discussed this, and I'm used to it by now.
I'm being nicer to Chris these days.
Well, fine.
Well,
but what is
first
your
of all-
problem
first
with
of
the
all-
wings? Explain yourself.
First of all, before you explain yourself,
Mhm.
chat. Good on you because you have guilted Scraby into actually trying to be nicer to Chris. He is actually
you.
he's actually scared of you guys out there. So keep at it.
Yeah,
Good
for
job.
some reason, he's not scared of the people sitting right here, but he's very scared about the people that he can't see that are out there.
You guys know I'm very particular. You guys know that I have rules for certain things. And
What
He,
rule?
and
he
To me-
lords over us too, like Dave Marcus.
to me, when you're doing a radio show, you don't eat, period. Like,
Mm.
you just don't eat, period. But
Okay,
I've gotten
well-
over that part. I've
Well,
gotten
you,
over that
you
part.
obviously haven't.
Right,
Because
clearly,
every time I bring the crackers in
clearly,
or the wings today,
clearly.
or whatever.
And by the way, when this guy was bringing in his mega salads and crunching on them over
He
here,
has done that.
He gets off and just disappears for time.
When was the last time you saw me eat a meal?
No, it
in
doesn't
here?
matter. You've eaten a meal
You
in
have
here.
done it
You
many
only
times.
because you
and
just
Tony's right. You just disappear from the show for 25 minutes.
Because
So,
I'm food coma.
we
over
can't,
here,
we
okay?
can't afford to do that.
The second rule,
What's the second rule?
well,
Scrape?
the addendum to the first rule is never eat anything messy. And he's eating wings, which are the messiest thing to eat.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Why
Does it bother me?
Is he touching your computer?
No.
Why does it bother you?
Because
He doesn't have a good answer.
I
For
don't.
this.
I really
You just-
don't.
are you not? Are you upset because you don't get to enjoy the wing?
No. It's not.
It's not. It's nothing like that.
You know what I think it is?
What is it?
Honestly, wings are gross to me, and
You don't like wings.
I don't like wings on the bone. I will not eat wings on the bone.
You guys hear this? This is ridiculous.
This is
Well,
not
this is what
anything
we
new.
live with.
This is not
on a
anything
daily
new. When I was
basis.
little, I bit into a chicken wing. The bone broke in my mouth.
You're not supposed to bite the bone.
I didn't mean to bite the bone.
Did somebody
Don't save that clip.
did?
And it broke in my mouth. And for some reason, that feeling was like the grossest thing ever to me. And I can still feel that feeling. And so I won't eat
It's
wings
ruined
on the bone.
you, huh?
Yeah, it really has.
Just
And
under-
if wings are the only thing there, I'm sorry, Chris. Wings
No.
are the only thing there. I will take a knife and a fork and I will cut the meat off of the bone.
You should be ashamed.
My
of
mom
yourself.
used to cut meat off the bone when I was a kid.
Mama Scraby is-
Just so you
know,
know,
Too nice.
You
Just so
you know you're her favorite.
You're
You
crazy. Just
Are
so you
kidding me?
understand,
There's
this,
no way
Scraby.
I'm her favorite.
Just
You know
so
what
we-
I put her through for 8, 9, 10 years?
Touche.
Who, your mother?
Yes.
What what are you putting her still through?
Oh,
You
she
came
will
on
take
here the other day and says that she sneezed too loud, and she was, upset for like 2 weeks after you
She
pointed
did.
that out.
She did. I did tell everyone that she's a loud sneezer, and she's every time I tell her that she claims that she's not, even though that she is, and she was not happy for me saying that.
Is that loud that you have to like mention it?
It's loud. My dad, like, he'll do like a fake jump, like it's like, ah! And it really bothers her.
That's kind of funny.
Sorry, Mom, I brought it up again.
If Tony and I had rules, which we don't, just suffice to say, you would break almost all of them. Just being who you are.
Can you give me a rule that can you give me something that I do that you don't like, and I will be open to fixing it.
Yeah, how about flying off the handle and losing your mind every time something doesn't quite go right?
Okay.
How about that?
Here's
Can we
what I can
start
tell
there?
you.
And I will say this: you've actually gotten better at
You
that.
actually have. You've improved in that category.
I will say this, Chris. I am trying to keep my anger down, so I'm counting to 3 now before I react to things.
Interesting.
And I'm not an angry person. I'm not.
What I would recommend as an addendum to what you're doing, how about trying 3 Mississippi? Takes
I
a
need
little
longer.
Yeah,
Okay,
takes a
so
little
either count
longer.
to 5 or 3 Mississippis.
Yes.
I can do that.
That might help
See?
matters.
I am trying to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
We'll
have
see
you
if I
seen-
can do
Have you
it.
seen a cracker in here for the last month?
And I will say
How
that
about
Chris
that?
has given up on the crackers, which I should pick my
Now,
battles.
are you giving up on crackers because he's been so adamant about, or are you just not even
No,
bragging
I,
right now?
I kind of have replaced them with some other items
Okay.
that I feel that he doesn't seem to hate as much.
Joshua says, revoke his man card, please.
Whose? Yours?
Mine.
Oh.
Yeah, for not eating the wings.
Oh,
I mean,
right. Yeah,
it
fair.
is that's crazy. That's crazy work.
Will Galvez just texted me.
Hey, Will Galvez. how
Chicken
are
wings
ya?
are so good.
Well,
I didn't ask for that, Will. I didn't ask for you to text me that.
You're a boneless guy, huh?
Oh yeah, boneless wings they're basically
They're not
chicken
really
nuggets.
wings.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but it's all right.
Yeah.
What's Will Galvez up to these days?
He lives here now.
Our
His address is.
Can you play Will so people can
Oh,
know?
yeah,
yes.
everybody knows who Will is.
Scravy.
There he is.
That is a old
An enduring comment there, and
Yes.
he's also the best fan I know of Pistol Pete Maverick.
That's right.
and he
Not
is
He
now,
also doesn't know Detlef Shrimp was a basketball player.
You know,
that
we
was
went
one of
golfing.
his better ones.
I went golfing with Will, another guy who used to work for our station, Ron Davis, and Greg Ranieri, who used to work for our station as well.
Everybody used to work.
Yeah,
right?
and Will, I forgot where I was going with that. Dang it.
Wow.
You went golfing with
I can't
them?
even be mad. I do that.
What were
like
we
once or
talking
so.
about before that?
Pistol Pete Maverick.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we were talking about that, and I still, every time I see Will, I go, I need a name. Because Tony answered Detlef Shrimp to a trivia question, and Will was like,
He had no idea who that was.
yeah, he goes, I need a name. We're like, that is the name, Will.
It was partly that, and partly the fact that he just didn't recognize Detlef Shrimp
no.
as a name at all.
No,
It was just a sound to
I
him.
was just
Yes.
talking gibberish at that point.
I think he said Gesundheit after you said Detlef Shrimp. It was the wrong reaction.
Yeah.
All right, you got the Padres need a left fielder. Let's go there for a
So,
minute.
Scravinator
They
Discord.
may soon need a left fielder. I'm sure a lot of impatient fans think they could use one tomorrow, but
I don't think this is a question as in let's make the trade today. I think this is a question as in like what name should we be looking at? And the Scravenators asked us in the Discord. They wanted your opinion on players that you guys think may make good left fielders in a trade. And I'll start. I saw a bunch of Taylor Ward. I know that he is hitting under 200, but I feel like he probably would get better on this team. And he has some years of control. Now, would it be too expensive? Maybe, because I know that the Angels value him a lot. But that's just a name that I'm throwing out there.
I think
Tony?
Tony's got a good name.
Are you throwing that name out there because he hit a couple home runs against us?
Yes.
Okay, because that's how that is hit.
Right, he's
No,
only
he's hitting
about
under 200.
75.
Under 200.
Yeah.
I mean,
same
yeah.
thing.
Sorry, he's up to 186 now. He
Right.
does have 10 homers, which is, doable.
I mean, which basically means he's hitting a homer.
I think he's got 10 home runs and
many hits is
9
it?
singles
There
or
you go.
something. Yeah.
I think I should go after McCutcheon.
Yeah, I like that name, Andrew McCutcheon.
I think
Now, do you think he can play a good enough left field still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he can play.
I mean, he's been a great defender his entire career. So.
I think, especially for that, he's been DHing for most of the year, and so
yeah,
you could ask him to you be playing what from August to the end. I think
he would
could,
love that.
I think he could do that. I think he'd be a great bat in this lineup to go along in this lineup, and I don't think it would cost you a ton. McCutcheon is already
Plus, you're dealing with the Pirates, and they're kind of stupid, so you could probably pull one over on those guys.
Which also means they can hold it hostage, thinking that they can get way more. So
Pirates aren't smart enough to do that. I'm looking at guys that are just not having great years, right? You're not going to be able to get, the top of the line left fielder. Riley Green in Detroit or Schwarber, those aren't coming here. Jackson Churio's a left fielder, Lars Nootbaar, Jaron Duran. These are all really good players. Rosarena, he's coming here this weekend. He's a great player, though. I don't think the Mariners would want to move him. The best I see is and we didn't have good luck with the first Gurriel, but Lourdes Gurriel. And does Arizona really want to trade him? He's their starting left fielder, and they're going to make a run at it. So Taylor Ward is really not the worst name I've heard when you're talking about a player from a team that is not going to be in any kind of contention.
KG on the chat had another suggestion earlier today. Kyle Stowers from the Marlins.
No chance.
He's hitting 300.
No
But the
chance.
the Marlins are always trading with the Padres.
No,
They're
Kyle
not giving
Stowers
him.
is staying on the Marlins probably forever as long as they can keep him. This guy's a franchise player he's turning into. That's not.
They don't
happening.
have a franchise to
I'm trying
have
to
him play
figure-
for.
I'm trying to figure out the my guy you guys are just both mentioning as your pick.
Taylor Ward?
Yeah,
Taylor Ward.
You're not into that.
he's hitting. He's hitting
186.
What
yeah.
are his? Let me see his career stats.
But you're not going to get somebody who's hitting 386, Tony.
But
I
how
mean,
is hitting 180 any different than
It's
what's
not.
there right now?
well, 10 homers is different than 2.
Not if it's 180. It's the same thing. You just more outs in between.
His
All right.
career numbers, he's hitting 247. He's an OPS plus of 107.
We're not talking about career numbers at this
Okay,
point. We're
this
talking
year.
about right now.
186, 10 home runs, 22 RBIs, 637 OPS. It's not good. It's not good.
I think he's an upgrade.
Okay.
I'd like to see Jason Hayward just get it going, and I think that they can. I think they need to give him a good, solid month at least, more.
But this team isn't a team that needs to hit home runs to
No,
win.
they don't need their. I think every team, and maybe this is too old school. I think every team needs their left fielder to produce something. And other than the Lockridge hit last night, we haven't got very much from any of the guys that came up. Oscar Gonzalez didn't do much. Tirso wasn't able to. Connor Joe, he's long gone anyway. Hayward is the thing that worries me about Hayward is, and this is far from anything personal because he was one of my favorite guys we met in spring training, and I know he's a great teammate, but that he hasn't really done much for 2 or 3 years now. So what's to suggest that he's going to come out of this anytime soon? And I think that has to be something you look at.
I mean, if those are your two options, why not just give Gonzalez another
Give
shot?
Gonzalez the shot. Yeah,
was-
no, you might be right, but we'll see. I mean, and how much do the Padres really have to trade now? What's left? I mean, other than Salas and DeVries.
Taylor Ward's going to cost you because he's
Yeah,
he's going to control. He's under control.
Yeah, I don't know that the Padres are going to be able to make the trade that a lot of fans want them to make. So I don't think they have the same capital
Now, I would love this.
to deal.
We're moving off the left field for 1 second, but
Where are
I
you
would
going
love this.
here now?
It will never happen in a million years. Adley Rutschman. Go all in for Adley Rutschman.
What
Under
What are
control.
we talking about?
I know it's crazy, and it's never going to happen. Another name I just saw, Cedric Mullins, but I don't think that would happen either.
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
The Orioles have a ton of outfielders.
They got a glutton
Right.
of outfielders. for
So
sure.
maybe that's something you could pry free. Rutschman, come on, this is another cornerstone franchise player.
I know. That's why I said it wouldn't happen.
Okay, so
But
why
I
did you
would love
bring
it.
up?
Bring it up.
But I would love it.
Then I should say, if you're going to go left field, Ted Williams. I mean, it's not going to happen, but we're just throwing names out.
You know what I'm saying.
No, I don't.
The guy has to be alive, Chris, to be able to be
No,
mentioned
it's-
in this.
Ted, okay, there are some people who are fans of cryogenics who would tell you that Ted is still alive.
I can't argue with it because
All
his
right.
head's frozen somewhere,
There you
right?
go. See,
Is that
So
true?
yeah, you like that kind of weird stuff.
Yes, I do.
So, it's a possibility for all I know. I don't know. We'll see what they do. I mean, look, we're complaining for a team that we really shouldn't have
We're
much to
not-
complain
I don't
about.
think we're complaining.
Right, I know.
We're just having a conversation about some things that may not even come to fruition
Yeah.
at some point. But I just thinking about it. At this point last year, had we signed Donovan Solano yet? It's like
That'd
right
be
around
close.
this point, right?
Right, yeah.
We didn't have
I mean,
Peralta yet.
Peralta is still out there, if
Yeah.
anybody's wondering. He is not signed with anyone yet. So who knows? Give him a
April 15th.
We had
Solano
Solano,
came
so
that
he
early?
was here.
Yeah.
When did
Peralta
Peralta
come?
get here?
Peralta. Let me see. You
You
guys don't need
giving
to
you a
just
little
be
musical
quiet.
interlude here.
May 19th, so 4 days from now.
Right.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
mean, that's if that's the one thing that you look at last year compared to this year is, those are basically bench pieces that performed extremely well.
Yes, they did.
Peralta's not playing this year. I don't think that Donovan's swinging it as well as
No,
he
he was
last
way
year.
under
He's not.
200 last
He's coming
I
to town
checked.
this weekend.
And
So
so
we will see him.
it is in a way those bench spots are they're not as volatile as the bullpen, but year to year you don't know what you're going to get coming off the bench.
I don't think anybody expected what we got from David Peralta.
no
That was a
no
surprise,
no
right?
doubt, no doubt.
All right, they are what is there 42 games now, right? 27 and 15. I'm just looking this up. Last year, after 42 games,
2 under.
No, right at it. 21-21. They just had actually lost a shutout loss to the Dodgers. They fell to 21-21.
We
and as we know, they wouldn't get over 500 really for good until after the All-Star break.
We're about 2
that's
weeks,
how far into this we really are.
About last year, we were about 2 weeks away from going to Anaheim and getting swept. That happened like the beginning of June, right?
Right, and that was in the middle of a 5-game losing streak that dropped the Padres 2 games under.
I think there's 2 5-game losing streaks right around each other.
There was another one that happened in mid-June, and they went 3 games under 500 at that point. Yes, it is, to quote my friend Anthony Gwynn Jr., still early. It's still early.
Even I buy into that.
You have to, even though we love what we've seen so far. There's a long way to go.
Dennis Lynn actually put out a mailbag, and he had some names of other guys that are in the system that could be traded. So he's got AA, Boston Bateman, Humberto Cruz, Cash Mayfield, which Cash Mayfield's like the big name, Cobb Hightower, Kavaris Tears.
Can we go through some of these names again?
Kale Fountain is my favorite name.
That's your favorite.
Kale Fountain.
Spelled like it sounds?
Kale Fountain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me some of the beginning ones again. Boston what?
Boston Bateman.
Wow.
Humberto Cruz.
Yeah.
Cash Mayfield.
Okay, I like it.
That's a great baseball.
Braden Nett.
Okay.
I
saw him in spring.
Is Braden Nett related in any way to Braden Suprenet? It's pretty close.
That's a Scraby joke, Chris. Come on,
I
now.
know.
Come on now.
Weak.
But there are names out there. I mean,
those are the names that he's predicting. Could get traded.
There's also Bradley Rodriguez, Francis Pena, Tyson Neighbors, David Morgan.
These are all young.
David
guys.
Morgan came up already. Pitcher.
Oh yeah, he did
just a little while ago. I don't know if he ever got into.
I don't think he did.
No,
poor guy.
Yeah,
I knew a guy one time that played for the Phillies. He was like always in AAA, and then he got called up one day to start a game because he was a pitcher, and the game got rained out, and he got sent back down. Never got a chance again to pitch in the major leagues.
There was a guy named Todd Van Poppel who ended up making the major leagues.
I do remember Todd Van Poppel.
He was a high school superstar, flamethrower or something, and Sports Illustrated was doing a cover story about him. He was on the cover throwing a pitch. The whole magazine was about Todd Van Poppel. And right before they went to press, of all people, Pete Rose pushed an umpire when he was managing and got suspended for 25 games, and they put that on the cover. And Todd Van Poppel never saw the cover again. He got Van Poppeled, as it were.
Cold-blooded.
So those things happen.
I can't imagine making it to the big leagues. I'm going to start. Okay, game is
suspended. I mean, how about the article came out earlier about the guys who pitched in 2020 where no one was in the stands?
I think they call them the Lost Boys.
And then, I think, Kyle Hart is one of them. He's the only one of the group
that came back,
got a chance to pitch again, or only one so far that's got a chance to pitch the big league.
I guess that would be similar to a guy in the NBA who only plays in the play-in tournament, puts up stats.
They don't have stats.
And then they cut him, and then the stats don't exist because those game stats don't exist.
At least he still has the memory of being in the game.
At least he could have played.
People watching. All right, let's slide away. Let's get to break. When we come back, Daily Gambit up next. More Gwynn and Chris too.
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system, and
Scrappy, what is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd be better off. You'd be better off admitting that you wore your underwear inside out. Frankly,
This guy is just searching up people's accounts.
It only happened that one time because I got caught.
How did you get caught?
The account was flagged, and anybody taking a look at it gets logged. And so I got called into the boss's office like 3 days later.
What did that come? I'm sorry, I gotta ask, but nobody's supposed to be doing this preview. What did that conversation? How did it go?
Well, why were you looking up Paris Hilton? Is that who it was?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh my god.
I can either confirm that's really funny, Chris, that you just yelled out that name out of all names.
No.
But I walked in, I got called into the office and I sat down
gosh.
and all my boss, I loved her. She was great. Her name was Sharon. Amazing boss. She just slid the piece of paper in front of me.
You knew
Said,
what time
did you
it was.
visit this account? And I looked. Yeah. She was like, we're going to have to write you up for this. And if you do it again, we're going to have to fire you. And I said, I'll never do it again. And I got out of there as soon as possible.
Man.
I took everything, but it was not good. Not good.
Just curiosity, huh? He's like, I wonder how much they have in their account.
Yeah. I mean, before I got caught, I did look up athletes. And,
Oh my God. I'm so glad you're sitting in this seat now.
Yes, I'm so happy you're not
freaking
doing any
bank.
job that can be dangerous to people's futures.
this was in the first year that I was there. I learned my lesson
As
thoroughly.
Chris, as I said, as soon as they walked in, there was like,
Yeah.
that's
That
our
window.
guy right there.
That's our window.
We're going to take
Yeah.
him down.
Yep.
Just lucky I didn't get caught for like. I can't even say. I'll tell you guys off break whose account I saw
It's
and how
diabolical.
much money they had sitting in their checking account.
And this was how long ago, too, by the way?
Ooh, 2009, 10. Way before I became a good person.
Didn't Bank America end up getting in trouble? Or was that, it was one of those banks got in trouble?
all of them get in trouble
Yeah.
for selling information, but
Hiring folks like you.
I wasn't selling any information. I was just wanting to see what was going
Just
on.
curious.
I didn't check their account activity,
You
which I
just
could
check-
have been like, oh, they bought this here. I'm going to go up there. I'm not that creepy.
Well, that's stock.
Oh yeah, you're not that bad.
I'm not that creepy.
This is amazing, by the way. We're supposed to be doing.
How are we supposed to do baseball picks under
I
these
don't think we can
circumstances?
anymore. I think we gotta push it. You guys never did it? Well, I mean,
No, Scrappy, we didn't. We didn't do it.
Really?
okay.
Like you work at a bank, you're looking at people's account information?
It only
That's unbelievable.
happened for a little bit, and then I got in
Only
trouble.
for a little bit.
I can't stop laughing at this because it is quite hilarious, Scrappy.
But you were saying that I may have gotten robbed or whatever. I actually did get robbed when I worked in San Francisco, and they're called quick change artists.
how long did you work in the banking industry?
8 years. I was a teller supervisor when I finished. I was also the merchant teller, which took in around $150,000 in cash a day. Guess what? Always balanced at the end of the day.
Yeah, I bet.
But there was a guy who walked in. He had about $5,000 in hundreds, and he handed it to me. He said, "Can I get 50s for these?" And I said, it's pretty annoying that he wants
$5,000 in hundreds.
in hundreds, and he wanted $5,000 in 50s. He just wanted 50s instead of hundreds. So I had to go get it from the vault. I come back. I'm starting to count it out, and then he's like starting to ask me questions as I'm counting it
He's
out.
trying to myth.
And then
What did I tell you, Chris? This is what I'm talking
Hey,
about.
That window right there.
Hey, this guy was so good that no one saw it coming. But so when I started getting mad at him because I counted out the 50s, he goes, "What are you doing?" I asked for 20s. And I'm like, what? You did not ask for 20s. You asked for 50s, bro.
Yeah.
I had to go to the vault to get those 50s. And as I was getting all mad and talking to my boss, he took the cash off the counter and put it into this folder that he had on the thing that
The original 5,000 in hundreds.
yeah, well, he kept going like that. And then I was so mad, I just grabbed it and I threw it in my drawer. And then he was like, "You know what? I'm out of here." And he walked out. And
How
then at
much
the end
did
of the
he get from
day,
you?
$3,000.
He got an extra 3 on you.
$3,000. Yeah, he got
See,
$3,000.
The thing about criminals like that, they can sniff out a mark really
I'm
easy.
not a mark.
You are 1,000%.
I
a
was
mark.
actually the bank's
dog. They got you for 3 extra.
and that's the only time in my 8 years that I ever had anything happen like that.
I'm sure there are people who've been there 8 years that never had 0 taken.
Scrape, I got a 20 here. Can I get 5 5s, please?
I hate you guys.
Let's get to
That was one of the worst moments of my life, but you know what? It taught me a lot. Never trust anyone ever again.
you know what? You definitely have learned because you don't trust very many people.
I don't
You
trust
are-
anyone anymore.
You are
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system, and
Scrapey. What is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd
I
be
thought
better
it
off.
was
You would be
cool.
better. You'd be better off admitting that you wore your underwear inside out. Frankly,
This guy is just searching up people's accounts.
It only happened that one time because I got caught.
Oh,
How did you get caught?
The account was flagged, and anybody taking a look at it gets logged. And so I got called into the boss's office like 3 days
What
later.
did that come? I'm sorry. I got to ask.
Wait to get back to it. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Hour number 2 of our program here today. We'll be here till 5 o'clock. Then you get an hour of commercial-free Padre talk. That's right, Thursday. It is the round table Padre conversation.
You know, one of my favorite things to do is when one of us forgets what we're talking about, just let him go.
Yeah,
Just
nobody
let him go.
helps. Yeah, you just let me die in the vine over here.
Can I settle something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
For those of you in the chat that have been asking Scraby, how is my unit?
Oh, boy.
The unit is just fine.
There is
That's
the unit,
that we were
talking about.
Right.
Okay.
That is what allows me to do the show from the room. I am returning it today, so I no longer have the unit.
Thank goodness we can put a face to the unit.
we will not ask you how the unit is any longer.
In the last week, maybe, I think I've had 3 messages asking how's Tony's unit doing, and I'm like, it's not. I get mad.
We're getting into we're going to get into the Daily Gambit here. But before we do, this is a yearly complaint I have. Scraby doesn't like it, and he defends this young lady all the time. But NFL Network analytics expert Cynthia Freeland.
What do you have against
Cynthia alone?
her?
I can't leave her alone because she's out with her NFL over-under win total projections. That's fine. Her opinion is as good as anybody's. But when you tell me that the Washington Commanders over-under win total number is 10.2, you lose me.
The 0.2 loses you?
Yes.
You can't just round it down?
Right. Either 10 or... No, have her. That's the whole idea of here. I don't want to round it down. Tell me it's 10, 10 and a half. 10.2 is far more information than anyone needs. And I don't know how she could possibly explain how she arrives at that. The 49ers, your guys, are 9.9.
Okay, good.
So there you have it.
I'm happy with
That's still pretty high.
The 0.9 is what makes it for me.
Because it means 10.
Well,
it's just I'm a little bit, instead of the 0.5, I know that she thinks they're going to win 10.
No, she doesn't.
I'm just trying to anger Chris.
I know you are, but you're not going to do it. And you've retorted this by saying, well, now we can never get her on the show. And I was like, well, have you ever even thought about trying to get her on anyway?
I have.
Sure.
And Adam Klug in the chat said, why don't you have her on to explain? I have tried. The NFL Network is tough sometimes with their scheduling.
All right. I want to remind everybody before we get to the Gambit, tune into the Manager's Report tomorrow. Mike Schilt, 9 a.m. on Ben and Woods. It's a Friday feature, and the Manager's Report is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal. They've kept it soft since 1925. All right, let's go. Scrape, how'd we do last night? We'll find out.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Real quick, Katrina on the chat. Scraby gives generous strokes, has a nice sack, and is very concerned with Tony's unit. That's what I've learned so far in 2025. Let me explain all those things.
Please do.
I missed the generous strokes.
When we were talking about golf one time, I just screamed out, I'm a generous stroke giver.
That's right.
And I was talking about golf.
Okay.
The sack was a quarterback sack that everybody turned into their own little joke. Katrina.
Katrina Bravo. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
that was
very good,
good.
Katrina.
It went over my head at first, but that was nice.
Yes. Anyway. All right. Let's get to our bets from last night. You would think that I'm just some depraved human being. Well,
Go ahead.
kind of am, but Boston -4.5 on the spread over the Knicks last night. All of us chose the Knicks. Celtics won 127-102. Not even close. Minnesota -10.5 over the Warriors. Chris was the only one choosing the Warriors. And the Wolves, they covered 121-110. Did anything happen at the end of the game, Chris?
No. The Warriors scored to make it 11, and then the Wolves got the ball, and I was screaming, not screaming, but if you had bet the Warriors, you would have said, please, foul, 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 but they just let the clock run out. So your bet if you took the Warriors died out there on the court with you.
Who scored more points, Jaylen Brown or Jimmy Butler? Tony and Chris went Brown. I went Butler, and I shouldn't have gone Butler. He had 17. Jaylen Brown had 26. Angels, Padres, over under 9 runs. You guys went over. I went under 5-1, so it was under.
I would be surprised. Tony, give me a little quick rating on Kyle Hendricks last night from the booth. Gives up the 3-run homer and then nothing against this guy who can't break a pane of glass. I kind of liked it because the Padres end up winning the game.
Yeah.
But
No, he pitched well.
it's
man.
impressive to watch that guy
He
work.
made one mistake,
Yeah.
paid for it. He navigated the tougher parts. I mean, yeah, Manny was on base all the time, but he kept him in the yard.
Yeah.
And he gave him a chance to win, really.
I mean, he is proof that you can still win by hitting location rather than just breaking the radar gun.
Location.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
What's that from?
Don't have it.
Can't think. It's on my.
I've heard it a million
heard it,
times.
though.
Scarface.
Oh, that's right.
Say hello.
To
My
my
little
little
friend. The chainsaw scene is my favorite of the
friend.
entire movie.
Depraved,
All right,
as you
thanks.
said earlier.
Depraved, yes.
Thanks, Elon
Yes.
Musk.
What? How did I become Elon? Oh, because of the chainsaw. Okay, now I get it. Texas -1.5 on the run line over the Rockies. We all went Rangers. Rangers win 8-3, so they cover. Panthers of Florida -1.5 on the puck line at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Chris and Tony said Toronto. I said the Leaves, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
But the Panthers won 6-1, so we lost.
They looked, I must say, Florida looked like the defending Stanley Cup champs in that game. They punished Toronto. Take a 3-2 series lead. All right, let's get to some picks for tonight. OKC looks to close out at Denver, game 6. OKC favored by 5.5. Scraby, going with the closeout. You're going with the Nuggies. What do you got here? In Denver, 5.5 point. OKC is the favorite.
I'm going to go with OKC just to close
The
it out.
closeout. I have been really impressed with Denver in this series, so I'm going to go Denver to hang in at least to the end. Tony? It's close.
Denver.
Denver, he says. Okay, take it to a game 7 perhaps. In that game, SGA -2 points or Jokic. I'm going to go Jokic, but SGA almost. The thing with the SGA is that he's almost guaranteed to get 30 points. Just automatic, pencil it in or pen it in. But Jokic has been on fire. Some of the shots he made the other night were off the charts. I'll go Jokic +2 points. I think it is Tony. Yeah, Tony. SGA or Jokic?
Jokic.
Jokic also. Okay. It's great.
I'll be the contrarian. Go SGA.
Even SGA himself said he didn't think he's been playing well until he finally hit some big shots at the end of that
He
game
did.
5. Russell Westbrook, long lost Laker, Clipper, every other team. He seems to have found a little niche here with the Nuggets. 10.5 points over under tonight, Tony, for Westbrook.
Over.
Over. Okay. It's gravy. 10.5 points.
I couldn't
Comes
even-
off the bench.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what he's been doing this year, but
Well, he's averaging about 10. It's probably about where
yeah,
he's at.
probably. I'll go over.
All right, I'm going to say under. I just don't think he'll get as much playing time. Well, he'll get the time, but not at quite 10.5. Jamal Murray, over under 2.5 threes. Scraby. He had 3 the other night in game 5, if that means anything to you.
2.5 threes. I'll say over.
I will also say over. He needs to hit some. Tony?
What was it again?
Jamal Murray, over under 2.5 threes.
Over.
Over for sure.
That seems low.
I guess, yeah. And as soon as you bet it, he'll make one or two. Dodgers 1.5 over the Athletics tonight. Yes, the Dodgers are in action later this evening. This is not the pitching matchup of all time.
Give it to me.
I have to look at it again because I can't even remember. It is the guy for the A's is Osvaldo Bido. I think he pitched against Bido.
Bido, he did.
For the Dodgers, Matt Sauer. Like they're down to their 15th starting pitcher, the Dodgers.
They ain't got much.
I think I'm up. I'm gonna say the A's. Why not? Jacob Wilson, do it for us. Tony,
give me the A's.
A's. Straight A's. Scrape.
I'm gonna go Sacramento A's.
All right, straight A's. Good pitching matchup tonight in Texas. Hunter Brown for the Astros. Jacob deGrom for the Rangers. Who strikes out more guys? That's Tony's guess.
DeGrom and who?
Hunter Brown, who's become one of the best pitchers in the league. Gonna still go with DeGrom. Scraby?
I'll go with Hunter Brown.
I will too. He's been pretty lights out this year. I don't follow the AL Cy Young race closely, but I understand he's a part of it. One more, the NHL tonight. Carolina trying to clinch in Game 5 at Washington. Carolina's up 3-1 and favored by 1.5 goals. Scraby. Carolina for the clinch or the Caps to stay alive?
I'm going Canes.
Canes for the clinch. I think Canes is the bet here. This is my unofficial hockey knowledge at work here. I think Carolina is playing the best of any of the teams left. They have been just blowing Washington out of these games. So having said that, I'll be wrong, and I'll take Washington on the bet.
Okay.
Tony?
Give me the Canes. The way you just talked about them, I believe you.
They look good. All right, there's our gambit for the evening. Take a break. Coming back, Mark Followill, play-by-play broadcaster, did the SDFC victory last night. Talked to him about some MLS when we return on Gwynn and Chris. We'll also have some traffic in here for you.
San Diego to Tijuana, bus leaving in 3 minutes.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can. And like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, those are guys that are, have really good stuff and are not far away from, being, middle of the rotation to top half, starting pitchers.
Yeah.
So trying to share some things. That's something we talk about all the time in the clubhouse is like, you bring something to the table on the field, every day. That's kind of what brings you here and gets you to this level. But, days that you're not playing as a starting pitcher, that's, a majority of our days. You pitch once every 5 days. So making sure you bring something to the table is, something we always talk about. So even though, like you said, I'm not going to be physically on the field pitching, I got to find a way to contribute. And a lot of that's just been, better communication with the staff. And I'm really excited this year to be able to sit in more of the coaches' meetings and see how they game plan and how they, come about their approach to certain teams. And I feel like when I come back in 26, I'm going to have a whole plethora of knowledge and things that I hadn't experienced before to add into my game. So.
I just have to say this. I play with a lot of guys, and not all of them are going to take as serious as Joe is taking this part serious, which is getting into those coaches' meetings. Coaches are here a lot earlier than the players, especially during spring training. So the fact that he's going to be willing to do that, I think that's awesome, man. That's what separates you from a lot of these other guys out there.
Right. We're talking to Joe Musgrove here, Padres pitcher, 97.3 The Fan. And I have to ask from the fan perspective, because Tony, every day on the show, whenever a team in the National League West signs a new big-name player, all of us fans are kind of like, why? And Tony says it doesn't matter. They still have to go out and play the games. Right. When you see that happen, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different perspective as a player. You know, our job is, our goal doesn't change regardless of whether we add, and that stuff's, you know, out of our control. So you never want to sit here going into an off season saying, you know, we're going to be fired up if we get this guy and this guy, and you know, not if we don't get this guy. So you look at our team, you know, and a lot of people see all the moves being made and don't see us making moves, and it seems like a mismatch in the division. You know, all these other teams are adding, but you look at our roster. I mean, we spent a lot of money over the last handful of years and committed a lot of guys to be here long term, and the value in having those guys return every year and continue to build that relationship and that growth is every bit as valuable as adding a new free agent. So I think with the progress we made last year, and you guys will never understand how we feel. I'm sure you can see a little bit of it on the field and how we carry ourselves and, you know, the camaraderie and stuff, but you'll never truly understand just how close that group got last year. And although we didn't, you know, achieve the ultimate goal of winning the World Series, we grew a ton as a team. We grew a ton as, you know, a unit. And I'm super excited that we got most of these guys coming back. We got the whole staff coming back, and we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Well, last one for me, because you kind of just hit on it, and I think it's so important. The continuity, right? This is, what, year maybe 3, 4 of this nucleus being together. How much of an impact can that have on a team, having guys who have been in the locker room together for so long?
Yeah, a ton. And, you know, like, Schulte's big thing is shared experiences. You know, we got guys from all over the league, some guys that are new and have experienced things that most rookies don't, and some guys that have been around 10 plus years that have, you know, been in championship locker rooms and been around the best of the best. So sharing those experiences with each other and helping each other grow along the way, not just, you know, providing, you know, assistance and, you know, coaching, but like sharing experiences and helping guys grow a little bit through, you know, what you've been through is a big thing for us.
Joe Musgrove, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good one we got here, man. Joe, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Pleasure, man.
Quick healings, and enjoy the rest of your day,
sir.
man.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because we are indeed preparing for Mark Followell. Join us, talk a little MLS soccer. He was on the game last night.
I saw that. SDFC put Colorado Rapids to the sword.
Yes, they did.
2-0, baby.
In the midst of 3 games in a week.
Yes.
They are 2-0 with a chance to close out the week with another victory.
Yeah, they're home.
Yes.
I think Scraby said they were. It gets confusing because in soccer, they list the home team on the top and the visitors underneath. And we're, of course, used to the opposite around here.
Right? Yeah, maybe they're not on the road then.
No, they're home.
No, they're definitely home.
They're definitely home. Saturday night against Sporting KC, or Sporting Kansas City, which is currently in third to last place. So you'd think it was a good opportunity for SDFC, which moved into sole possession of second place last night.
It seems like although 3 games in a week is tough, the schedule in terms of who they played was favorable.
Right, they played some of the lower
St. Louis the
teams.
First game. They played Colorado last night, and then they'll finish with Sporting Kansas City. All those teams are at the bottom half of the table.
Give this team a lot of credit. I'm sure Mark Followell will know, but you know, they lost those, what was it, 3 in a row there, fell back to 500. They got blown out pretty much of all those games, including a 3-0 loss and a 3-1 loss. And now they've come right back, Tony. They've won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So they've turned it around nicely. And our guy, Anders Dreyer, scored a big goal again last night. So, you know, there's a lot to like about what this franchise has accomplished this year already.
I mean, it's pretty crazy to see them having the kind of success that they're having.
Yeah.
Despite being
I remember, expansion. I remember Mikey Veras when we had him on before the season. We said, "How good can you be, really?" And he was he's a little non-committal, but I had a feeling that he thought they might be good. He just didn't want to jinx it.
Right.
You know?
Let's talk some MLS soccer. Mark Followell joins us, play-by-play announcer for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. He was on the game last night. And Mark, how was your day? Thank you for joining us.
My day is good. Had a nice day and a half in San Diego, so of course those days were good, and now I'm back home in Dallas, where it's a little warmer and muggier.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
the game last night. I mean, this San Diego FC team is in the midst of 3 games in a week. They took care of St. Louis on the road. They come home, and another impressive performance. It seemed like from this team. What were your thoughts watching this team last night?
Well, I thought it was a dominant performance. I said late during the broadcast, sometimes in sports when you do broadcast, someone might say that numbers lie. I don't think numbers ever lie. You just have to be smart enough to know what truth numbers are actually telling us. In fact, they are telling us anything. And the numbers, I think, are a really important and correct story last night. A lot of possession, a lot of passes, a lot of shots. I think 27-9 ended up being the shot disparity last night. The expected goals for San Diego were over 4. They had a lot of possession. They had by far many more quality chances in the game. They had one blip on the radar conceding the penalty, but the goalkeeper rose to the occasion and kept the game from getting nervous. I mean, that easily could have been a 4-0 or 5-0 result last night. And in fairness to Colorado, they were playing without one of their best players, Rafael Navajo, their Brazilian striker who had 15 goals last year and 5 goals this year. So that hurt last night. But I think San Diego's just in a very, very good run right now. And, it's a really, really great story to see how well, obviously, that the community is embracing them. And, of course, it's a synergistic relationship. The community is embracing them, but winning games, of course, is increasing the bond that's building very early on between the community and the club.
Yeah, and again, the atmosphere, you're bringing it up, Mark, but we've all been there and experienced it, and I think it's funny. I think most of us who are still kind of learning soccer, a lot of us anyway, we come away from the match going, man, the atmosphere was incredible, and we're happy they won, but we remember the feel. And last night they played the game pretty much right alongside a Padre game down at Petco Park. So I think that says something for the San Diego fans. Mark, talk a little bit about
before you go any farther with that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but before
No.
you go any farther, I think it's really important to remember is that you're talking about the how great the atmosphere was and people still learning soccer. I think the beautiful thing to me, this is just my opinion, the beautiful thing about sports is going to a sporting event is an experience. And it's something that brings people together. And you go to a sporting event and you don't have to have, in my opinion, an in-depth understanding of every nuance of what's happening out on a basketball court or a football field or a soccer pitch or a baseball diamond or a hockey rink. I mean, pick whatever sport it is that you're talking about. It's where a group of people get together and they're, by and large part, all cheering for the same outcome. It brings people of different backgrounds, at different ages, and all of that sort of thing together. So I think that's the cool thing about it. And so it's okay that everybody, is still learning the sport. Everybody's got to start somewhere. And I think there's, obviously San Diego is a really good soccer market from a youth soccer perspective. And obviously the collegiate program at San Diego State's produced a lot of players that have gone on to the super draft. There's a lot of players from Southern California that, of course, have been on the U.S. men's national team and gone to play in leagues in Europe and in Mexico and not only Major League Soccer. So I think that's an important thing to think about when you talk about a young market with regard to learning the game, is you can still, have a great time and the atmosphere be good and still not necessarily everyone know every nuance about the sport.
That's well said, is what that is. Thank you, Mark. Very
Thank
good.
you.
And speaking of San Diego State, Eric Winalda. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
Depth of knowledge for me. Going back a long time for old Eric Winalda, but he was a great Aztec and a great member of the national team. I was just going to ask, though, but that you said they could have won 4-0 last night. A couple of games ago against Dallas, they did win 5-0. I mean, that's unleashing, quite the attack. So how are they doing it? It's interesting to me because I'm expecting all these 1-0, 1-1. We haven't really seen that with this team, and I think that's another thing that's getting people excited is that, they're looking for offense and they don't mind, exposing the back end every now and again.
Well, I think they're doing it because they've got talented attacking players. Number one, Chucky Lozano obviously has played for great clubs and obviously is a is a really good threat. Dryer's come in and surprised people with what a threat he's been. They commit numbers going forward with their fullbacks. Their fullbacks get forward. I mean, you see it with whether it's Bombino and Willie who were playing last night. Whatever the case is with their outside backs, they get forward and create chances. And when you possess the ball and you have the capability of building out of the back, you don't have to play long direct balls. I mean, I noticed many times last night that they would have possession and under a lot of pressure. Yeah. Building out from the goalkeeper and their center backs and their outside backs and Tverskov, the number 6. So I'm really impressed with how well they possess the ball. And when you have a lot of possession and when you're capable of stringing multiple passes together, and especially when you build out of the back and then you can make one really incisive pass that progresses the ball way up the field and takes a lot of defenders out of the play with one long ball, then you're going to put yourself in position to score goals. And then, of course, look, once you've scored one, and I think this was the case in the FC Dallas game, once they scored one and then got a second later in the half, I mean, the other team's got to start committing numbers to going forward to try to get back in the game, which leaves them exposed at the back. And so that's part of the equation as well. And last night, Colorado tried to push forward, they weren't very successful. They left space, and that created a lot more opportunities, as you guys saw as the game went on. They just didn't cash in on all of them to be in a position to win that game. Like I said, they could have 4-0 or 5-0, but it was a calm and one that the group should be really proud of, especially because it's the third in a row after losing 3 in a row. And I know that all seasons and all sports go through ebbs and flows, and they're in a pretty good ebb and flow right now.
They're in a great one, and it seems like the city is loving it at this point. Mark, appreciate your time, man, coming on today. We'll look to catch up with again down the line.
Yeah, anytime. Looking forward to getting back out there to Snapdragon for another game soon.
Can we borrow a little of that deep voice as well, Mark? That's like really impressive, I must say.
We'll hang out on one of the street corners. And
fair enough. Thank you, Mark. Mark Followill, play-by-play announcer for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, and a perfect broadcasting voice.
Right?
That's what that sounds like.
Yes. I mean, he was born to broadcast with that voice.
That makes me, because everybody calls me Kermit the Frog, and I'm jealous of his voice, to be honest.
He doesn't.
Wait, people call you Kermit, huh?
Not so much anymore, but when I was coming up in radio, yes, it was a lot of Kermit.
Is that why you jumped on Mahomes like that? Because
I needed to deflect, yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Kermit the Frog here.
I think if Mark Followill was doing broadcasting back in the day, it would have been Strasburg into the windup. Certainly wouldn't have been Strasburg ready to go.
Strasburg ready to go. A slider. Let's get to break. On the other side, 30-mile zone. Scraby's got some tea. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Welcome back to Gwynn Chris. I think it's my turn. 3:34.
It is.
Yeah. Thanks to Mark Followill, the deep-voiced play-by-play broadcaster for the MLS season pass and the SDFC rolling into second place now. Only the teams ahead of them, Vancouver, which has been like the best team in the league. But SDFC, what a great expansion season it has been. And they'll be back at it Saturday night against Sporting KC out at Snapdragon Stadium. Padres getting ready to host the Mariners. The Vetter Cup will actually, this is the first time the actual Vetter Cup has been competed for.
Yeah.
They've talked about it being the Vetter Cup, but there never was such a thing. Now, Eddie Vedder, the musician, has designed a cup. And I guess will reside in the office of somewhere.
Eddie Vedder is all in on this.
Yes, he's made a big deal. Do you know that
it is named after him?
Okay. Do you know? I read this the other day because I have no life.
Save that clip.
Okay. If they tie at the end of the season 3-3 in terms of Padres win 3 and the Mariners win 3, the Vetter Cup will not go to the team that scores the most runs or etc. The Vetter Cup will go to the team that has the player on it which has the highest exit velocity on a hit ball in the series.
So Manny Machado.
Tony's looking down like, really? They think they're being innovative, Tony. They think they're being innovative.
I guess.
The only reason I'm not going to trash this is because it's for a good cause.
Right. Listen, I'm cool.
They're
I like the
Vetter
Cup idea.
Yeah.
I just
they have to figure
the guy
out who
with
to
the
give
velocity. How about it goes to no one until somebody actually wins the cup?
Right. You just keep it for a year. 3-3, it stays in the possession of Eddie Vedder.
Eddie keeps it.
Eddie gets to keep it. Ryan Gerard, Cam Davis. Those names mean anything to you, Scrape?
Ryan Gerard.
Cam Davis is leading PGA Championship.
He's tied with Ryan Gerard. They are the leaders. Gerard is an American. Both shot 566 today out at
Quail Hollow.
Quail Hollow.
So 500 is the leading number. Really, you got to look down the list to find big names.
Is Davis not American?
He's Australian.
Cam Davis, American, yes.
Wait, no, Cam Davis is, I think, Australian or
right, Australian. Did I say?
You said American.
Oh no, I misspoke. The biggest name I can see on the board here, chasing really is Scheffler, and he's 2 under, so he's 3 off the lead. But not a lot of the big names are at the top of the board.
Dang, that rough looks rough.
It is the PGA.
Yes, it does. I think this is one of the best golf courses they play.
Like this
just for sight lines and stuff. I know the golfers aren't.
What is it called again?
Quail Hollow.
I saw Scheffler complaining today, and I got to tell you, Chef, since I can call him Chef because he's Tony's friend and former playing partner. But when professional golfers are complaining about, they wouldn't let me lift, clean, and place my ball, and they wouldn't let me do this, and all the rules, the rest of us are kind of, it falls on deaf ears to the rest of us because we can't hit the ball anywhere near the way
we can't relate. We
can't relate at all.
Speak for yourself.
Chef, no, I'm speaking for you too. I'm speaking for you too. But they wouldn't let the Scheffler lift and clean and his ball.
What is Scraby? I need a
lift, clean, place is like a legal way. If everyone gets to do it, where if you're on the fairway, you can put a tee down, pick it up, clean your ball off, put it right back down, and you can hit it. And
Scotty Scheffler said without that, he was unable to control the ball.
Okay, well, we can get over it, Scotty.
That's my point. Thank you.
No one else.
You agree with me?
Yeah.
But you can't hit the ball like Scotty. He might. I mean,
I'm sure to him this matters.
Smidge.
Yeah, I know.
Might change how he can control the ball.
I think you're right, Tony. But we don't care. That's my whole point.
I do know that
we don't care.
Normal people just doesn't mean anything to us.
I do know there were torrential downpours to start the week, so I think that's what he's talking about. But. Yep. I mean, it's either all players get it or no players get it.
And
so
they gave it to no players.
Yeah, exactly.
They gave it to no players.
It's a major, Scotty Scheffler. Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, that's what you're working on that. You were supposed to be.
Yeah, you know what? 3 Mississippi.
Yeah, Mr. Scheffler, it is a major.
1 Mississippi.
2 Mississippi.
There we go.
3
now
Mississippi.
Let's hear your comment.
It's a major, Scotty Scheffler.
All right, let's get some traffic, and we got some 30-mile zone to check into here today.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Traffic alert in the North County, southbound 15 Deer Springs Road. 2 left lanes are blocked with this overturn accident. Lanes were shut down on the northbound side, but things are open there. Speeds are looking good. But again, that crash southbound 15 Deer Springs Road. Accident has cleared on South 5 Coastline near Loma Santa Fe. Traveling on eastbound 8 right before Jackson Drive. The lane next to the slow lane has a stalled vehicle. They're moving that over to the right shoulder. And going to find on the northbound 163 just before Genesee, a stalled car partially in the slow lane. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and you're road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
So Carlos on the chat has a little update about the Vetter Cup and how it's going to be determined. Exit velocity is the second tiebreaker after run differential.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because of the initials EV. Eddie Vedder exit velocity.
Oh. All right. Well,
okay.
At least it's the second tiebreaker.
That makes some sense.
Yes.
I can get on board.
Thank you for that, Carlos.
Shout out to Carlos.
Very good.
So let's stay with Quail Hollow. And Hunter Mahan, pro golfer, he was one of those guys who was supposed to be really good, and then he never really panned out. But they asked him to describe the course ahead of this weekend's PGA Championship, and this is what he said, Tony. Get ready to be shocked. He said, I guess I would say Quail Hollow is like a Kardashian. It's very modern, beautiful, and well-kept, but it lacks a soul or character. It's so unnecessary. I don't know why he decided to say this.
Who said this?
Hunter Mahan. And the owners of the golf course are all mad about it. I don't even think Kardashians care.
Pretty sure they are not concerned with that.
But I was like, man, that's a really weird shot to take.
I can't believe he's picking on my girl like that.
Your girl?
No, but because of my wife, I've watched every episode of that show pretty much.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, that
nowhere to avoid it, man. It's on all TVs. You know,
that is a strange shot to take. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna start with something sad. Did you guys know the alligator from Happy Gilmore died?
I heard that.
Yeah.
What?
Morris the alligator.
He took out Chubbs though, so he had to go too.
He did. He took out Chubbs. Dang alligator bit my hand off.
What are they going to do for Happy Gilmore 2, which is coming out shortly?
I don't know if Morris is in it, but did you know that they're estimating Morris's age to be 80?
I mean,
80.
That's not a surprise. I mean,
I didn't know they lived that long.
Alligators are like the last remaining, thing from the dinosaurs.
That's
so
true.
they got some length.
You know who lives longer than them? Turtles.
Turtles do live a long time.
Yeah.
I had somebody give me a turtle once, and I asked about it, and I heard it lived over 120 years.
You gave it back.
I didn't give it back, but I found somebody else who wanted one and was unaware. So they got the turtle, because there's no way I'm hanging with a turtle for a hundo.
Adam Sandler put up a post on Instagram and had a very nice caption. He said during the caption, you could be hard on talking to Morris. You could be hard on directors, makeup artists, costumers, really anyone with arms or legs. But I know you did it for the ultimate good of the film. I will miss the sound of your tail sliding through the tall grass, your cold, bumpy skin. But most of all, I will miss your infectious laugh.
Adam Sandler.
Doing it for...
That's
boy, Adam.
I mean, they already made 2.
I don't know if he's in it. I haven't really even looked into that movie yet.
Because both, I mean, him and...
Shooter.
No, not Shooter. My man went to say
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers
also
passed.
Carl passed. Yeah.
Chubbs.
Oh yeah. That's sad. Morris retired in 2006, and he became part of a Colorado gator farm in Mosca, Colorado. So
Okay.
Sad
So he
day
lived
for
out
him.
happily, though. The
Oh,
last
yeah.
few years.
I mean, he was a movie star.
Right.
Did you guys see? Well, obviously, you saw that the schedules came out yesterday for the NFL, but how do we feel about all of the teams now doing this creative cartoon to announce their schedule? Because one team in particular had to delete theirs because of what they did. But I want to get your thoughts on the schedule releases first.
I think if you can, I don't mind it in today's world where you are using it for social media and things of that nature. It's kind of fitting for that. But
Okay.
if you can't, you know, just talk about your opening game and not take shots, you know, you shouldn't do it.
Chris?
I have no problem with it. It doesn't interest me a whole lot, and I don't understand it exactly. Like, because a lot of the teams used Minecraft.
Yes, they did.
But what does that mean?
Minecraft is a movie coming out. It's also a game that kids play, and you can like code and stuff.
Okay, but how do you release your schedule and incorporate Minecraft?
You
That's
make
what I
it
don't get
look like Minecraft. Like, look, Chris, right here. This is the shot that Minecraft is a lot of blocks. Everything looks like it's in blocks.
So that's how they introduce the schedule with the Minecraft motif.
Yes.
Okay.
Elisa says Bob Barker also passed away. Price is Wrong.
Yes, long time.
Bob was giving him work too on the court.
He was.
That was,
now you've had enough.
That was one of the best against type casting
for sure
decisions ever made.
Yes, it was.
Bob Barker getting in a brawl.
It was great. Anyway, so the Colts, Indianapolis Colts had to delete their tweet. Number one, because I think Microsoft got mad at them for using Minecraft. But number two, they announced their opening game between the Colts and the Dolphins with a Coast Guard boat pulling up to a Dolphin that has a Tyreek Hill jersey on, and they like arrest him for like what Tyreek had happened to him before the first game of last year. So they took it down, and Tyreek actually took to his Twitter and said, "You should have left it up, Colts. This was funny."
Yeah.
So
figure Tyreek would like that.
He probably wants it so he could use it. So when they do play against each other, that would then be
He'll be ready.
the theme for what he would have to say back.
Yeah, but all of those videos are very strange. The Chargers, I guess, like kind of started the whole thing, but
I don't. Even though you showed me a photo, I don't get it. Still,
Minecraft?
No, I just don't get it. I mean, here's our schedule. Here's a photo of a Coast Guard boat.
No, it's not a photo. It's a video of the Coast Guard boat pulling up on the
and
Dolphin.
That is supposed to signify we're playing the Dolphins.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the disconnect is here.
There's a big disconnect. Sorry.
Serious story. Former MLB shortstop Rafael Furcal has been arrested in Florida.
This is wild.
Yeah, he according to court records, he turned himself in around 2:15 p.m. and because he had an arrest warrant issued for his arrest 2 days prior. Court documents show Furcal was wanted by the cops on two separate charges: one felony count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and another. Didn't even know this was a thing.
Hey, yo, I read this like 4 times
Me
to
too.
make sure I was reading it right.
And we don't know what the object is, and another felony count of throwing a deadly missile into an occupied vehicle. Like, does anybody else just have the visual of a missile being thrown into the car?
Yo,
who's carrying around a deadly missile?
I played with Raphael.
Oh,
he was a good player.
He was a really good player.
Shortstop. Yeah.
And he had a reputation of being crazy.
It's kind of a
at
coup.
the time.
Okay.
I played with him in his later years, so he was a little more calm at the time.
All right.
But I do recall people saying he was crazy.
Well, apparently so. I guess this
missile.
is the charges stem from some kind of altercation that he had been involved with a truck driver. And when I read this story, I was like, this is why I can't try to fight crazy people on the road, because they're going to throw a missile into my car.
My man said, you want the smoke? I got a big smoke for you.
Yeah, here's my missile.
Here's a missile
that I just have hanging out in my car. But we'll figure out what this missile is.
Okay, here comes another, disconnect. Do you pick it up and light the missile with I don't get it.
I'm going to quickly Google Rafael
My
Furcal
point being,
missile.
if you just threw a missile that wasn't potentially ready to explode, it would just basically be like throwing a can of soda into the car.
The visual of of actually, because most missiles are shot out of something.
I know.
Of
This is
throwing
why-
a missile.
So that's what I'm saying. He'd have to light it or ignite it in some way to make it dangerous.
Oh, wow.
This is throwing me way off.
Okay, I have an update.
All right. Thank you.
While details of the incident were not immediately available, Call, speaking from his home, told reporter Tenchi Rodriguez that the object he used was a rock, but that he had been attacked with a knife.
Okay, so they're calling a rock a missile.
Can a rock be a missile?
see that.
What's the definition of
We
missile?
got to figure that out.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
Why did he just have a random rock in his car? I don't have a random rock in my car. Do you have a random rock in your car, Chris?
I mean, I don't think he probably got it out of his car. He probably picked it up off the road if they was.
You're talking to me. I have an OCD looking car. There isn't a single
an
item
object
in my
which
car.
is forcibly propelled at a target either by hand
Mm-hmm.
or from a mechanical weapon. So
yeah, there you go.
He
So
could-
he threw a rock. That counts as an
I mean,
attack with a missile.
he's an ex-shortstop. He's got a strong arm too.
That's
That's why it's
probably
deadly.
why he elected that. It's like, okay, I know I could aim this bad boy.
But yeah, not good. Not good at all. He is.
I'm just saying that story sounds way crazier until you read the definition of a missile.
Yes, it does. If you don't delve into that, you're expecting to see Doctor. What is it? Oh no! Now I hate when we all hate when this happens. The Mike Myers guy in
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, Dr. Evil throwing a missile. That's kind of what I pictured.
I mean, I did picture a missile.
Okay.
We all did.
It says it in the name. All right. Did you guys see Jaylen Brown grabbing Josh Hart's junk last night?
I did not see this.
Okay. So Jaylen Brown, there's a video of it.
Grabbing
of him
his unit, huh?
grabbing his unit. Yes.
So Josh Hart's unit and may not be doing well today.
Yes. Jaylen Brown, or not, I'm sorry, not Jaylen Brown. Josh Hart, Shannon Hart just quote tweeted the video.
Shannon
and said,
Hart is his wife.
Yes.
Yes.
And said, weird. But when you watch the video, and I'm not putting it up because it's too quick and it takes me forever to put the video up, he does grab it. I don't understand why this happens.
I don't either. I've never understood that.
I say it. He grabbed his units.
What were the circumstances? I don't need to see.
Jaylen
For a
Brown
loose ball.
I think he was
Speaking
guarding.
Whoa! I just said were they going for a loose ball? Yes, apparently he was.
That, please.
Yes,
he was going
apparently
for
he
a
was.
loose ball.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it looks like the Celtics are on offense and Josh Hart was trying to pick him or something. And then as Jaylen Brown was going around him, he had his hand backward and he grabbed it.
That's so weird.
It is weird.
Like what entices you when you get that close to go ahead and squeeze at that point? That is just.
I don't know.
That's,
I have no answers for that. It's very strange. It's very strange. All right, let's move into this one. There was a bat dog. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, this was in minor leagues.
Yes, in the minor
saw
league.
this.
So a dog that goes and gets the bats and everything for a minor league game.
I was picturing an animal with wings flying around.
I knew that was going to be
at the head of a
confusing.
dog.
I knew it was
And
going
I
to
was
be
like,
slightly
where did this
confusing.
come from?
So I guess the Kannapolis Cannonballers were taking on the Carolina Mudcats, and a dog just ran out on the dog ran out in the field and just went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Took a number
that
two.
happens
Well,
more than you
that's-
think it does.
yeah,
by the way,
that's a hang with them.
And the person who had to go clean it up took
Who?
off their hat or had a hat and scooped it into the hat
Ooh.
with their hand.
They
Yeah, I
must
wouldn't
didn't
do
want that
that.
hat anymore. That's what
I
that
don't
was.
know why they did that, but yes, but I don't know why. It's just so funny when dogs go to the bathroom because they always are looking around so embarrassed.
It does seem embarrassing to them.
But the guy just comes up and scoops it up with his hand, and people are like, "Bro, that is gross."
You ever tried to stare in your dog's eyes while they're?
Oh, they won't do it.
I know, but
They
it's
won't
fun
do
to-
it.
fun
They
to
won't do it.
give them a
Lucky
problem.
is always looking out for whoever's going to attack him. when
Hey,
he's-
that's your most vulnerable spot you could possibly be in at that.
I did something mean one time where I ran at him while he was doing it, and he freaked out.
What a jerk!
I did. Yeah, you're right. I never did it again. I said sorry to him a million times, but I think for maybe a day or two, he was really too scared to go to the bathroom. I shouldn't have done it, and I
You're
still
such a-
feel bad about
You're
it.
such a child, by the way.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. That's basically all I got. Nick Cage and Christian Bale Have you guys seen them looking like
That looks
Al
good.
Davis and John
Looks like
Madden?
I might want to see this. Have you seen it at all?
Go to
I have
TMZ
not
Sports, but Nick Cage looks weird as John Madden, I have to say.
Well, he's got they give him the floppy Madden hairdo. So when knowing it's Nicolas Cage, it looks weird. But I'm looking forward to seeing Christian Bale play Al Davis because Christian Bale
can act
is
his
a
behind off.
psycho
Yeah,
actor.
for sure.
I mean, he will become Al Davis, not only in the movie, but like for 6 months of his life.
He's probably
Christian
still
Bale
out
is
right now.
into it. Yeah.
for
So
sure.
I would pay to see Christian Bale be Al Davis. That could be interesting. And it'd be a historical thing for a lot of younger people who really just don't know about that whole Raider world. Very interesting times.
Yeah, I don't know about Nick Cage being John Madden. Doesn't speak to me.
give
You
him a
don't like
shot.
Nick Cage?
Oh no, I
too.
love Nick Cage.
I like Nick Cage too.
I love Nick Cage.
Yeah, we were in high school together.
What
Beverly Hills High.
He was behind me in school by a couple of years.
Oh,
Went by the name of Nicholas Coppola. He's actually related to Francis Ford Coppola, who did The Godfather. Nicolas
Wait a
Cage is
second.
part of all that.
Look at this. We
So
got to talk
he-
about this on the other side.
Yes, we
he's
do.
a Nepo baby?
Okay. Yeah, I
here
just
we
outed.
go.
Sorry, Nick. I just outed you.
Mariners tomorrow.
hour we go. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. Padres with an off day. They did take the series against the Angels, taking 2 of 3, winning. What was it? Game 2 and 3, or games 1 and 2? 1 and 3.
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Lost game 1.
Right.
Rough one.
Speaking of, I before we get to Christopher the fans, I have to have my daily incredible Colorado Rocky statistic, and this actually isn't totally about them, but they lost again last night in Texas, got swept by the Rangers. The Rockies are 2-20 on the road this year. Here's the weird stat of that. The last team to start a season 2-20 on the road was the 2005 Astros. Why is that interesting? Because the 2005 Astros ended up that year in the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Before losing to the White Sox. That Astro team started 2-20 on the road. I don't think the same thing's going to happen to the Rockies.
The Astro team was still in the National League.
Yes. They played the White Sox in the World Series. You're right. You had to bring that up because a lot of people go, how'd they play the White Sox? Yeah, they were still in the National League. But they had a horrible start to the season, ended up in the World Series. I'm not expecting the same for the Rockies, who have now played 14 series this year. Tony, they've lost them all.
Yeah, it's listen, I have seen some bad team, and White Sox were pretty bad.
Yeah,
they were pretty
year.
bad last year and the year before.
Yeah.
But Colorado takes the cake,
cake.
and it is not close.
No, they've made.
I honestly think, like, I was like, let's wait and see White Sox. I honestly feel like they're going to break that record right now.
Sure looks like it. Sure looks like it. All right, Scrabe. Make it happen. I think it's 4:00. You know what that means.
Yes, I do.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
You know, I'm looking at Nick Cage movies real quick, and I gotta say, my favorite Nick Cage movie is The Rock. I love The Rock. Welcome to The Rock.
How about Leaving Las Vegas? He won the Academy Award for that.
We talk about Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Oh, Con Air.
Con Air.
Love Con Air.
He had a hot streak there for a
Snake
while.
Eyes.
Yeah, see, you guys are
Love
you guys are in a
Snake
different
Eyes.
world than I am.
Face Off.
Face Off.
Yeah.
Love Face
I
Off.
love Face
Right,
Off.
so let's go back. Leaving Las Vegas. Anyone even see it?
I don't think
Yeah,
I've
he drank himself to death.
Drank
I tried
himself
to.
to death.
I don't think I've seen that.
I saw it and it spoke to me. It hit
There's
me a
another
little
one I'm
too close
missing.
to home.
Wait, there's
Yeah.
another one I'm missing. What's the one where they steal the cars?
Oh, Gone in
Oh,
60
yeah,
Seconds.
Gone in 60
Yeah.
seconds.
Eleanor, man.
Come on, man.
Eleanor. They're trying to steal Eleanor.
Yeah, no. I was even a fan of maybe the first one. What was the one where he was like kind of a demon? Same, he was like
A demon.
he was like a car. Gosh, he was like an old biker.
Oh, Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. I like Ghost Rider a little bit too.
That's interesting.
National
National Treasure
Cage's
also.
first. How about
National
his
Treasury.
Yeah.
Like that one too.
Yeah.
first role in a movie ever for Nicolas Cage? Anyone? 1982. He was an extra, basically. He was Spicoli's friend in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever see the movie, you'll recognize the friends of Spicoli. Nicolas
that's
Cage is one of those
Nicolas
guys.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I think someone on the chat said that he was credited with Coppola in that movie instead of Cage.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
All right. Now that our Nick Cage fascination.
Yes.
I love Nick Cage. I do.
All right.
Here are the rules, and I'll tell you what we're playing for. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you are eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question, or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you'll get that question for free.
We've been on that.
We have. We've been good.
Yeah.
We've been good. You're playing for a qualification for a chance to win the grand prize, a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to a show at Dolby Live at Park MGM on September 3rd, 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gift card. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Now, Tony, real quick, are you a Bruno Mars guy?
I like Bruno
We
Mars.
tried this
I don't
yesterday.
know if I'm a Bruno Mars guy, but I like Bruno Mars.
All right.
Okay. We
tried
sounded
to
really
name some Bruno
uneducated
Mars
yesterday.
songs yesterday, and we were not
I
successful.
mean, what 24K comes to mind?
Yeah,
There's
24K.
Well, there you go.
In
We
the
didn't even have that. I have one last item on Nicolas Cage. When he's not acting, he's busy getting married.
yes.
He's been married 5 times.
Really?
He's still
Who's
looking
he been
at
married
age.
to?
He's found his. Is he still married right now?
He is right now. His second wife was Lisa Marie Presley. I'll tell you that.
I do
much.
remember him
that.
with her.
I remember
Yes.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he also bought. This is turning into a Nick Cage segment. I think he also bought this like haunted house in New Orleans. I think it's the Madame Lalaurie house, and it like bankrupted him. He buys a lot of crazy stuff too.
Wouldn't know.
All right, let's get to our first contestant today. We're gonna go with Scott in San Diego. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Hey guys, happy Thursday.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you, Scott.
Thursday.
to you.
Ready to play?
Let's go.
Some people would say his best movie ever was Moonstruck. Go ahead.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, wow.
What?
Cher won the Academy Award for that movie.
What is the right field corner at Petco Park called?
Not coming up.
What was that?
The Crone Zone.
Crone Zone.
Oh, the Crone Zone. That's actually,
It might be right.
you'd have to stretch, but you might be able to give it to him. I don't
Tony
think that's
says
what
no.
you were after. You're going to say no.
Is that what you were after?
No,
No,
he's
that
after
what you put
we're
after?
after
I
Petco
wasn't.
Porch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we can give it to him.
All right.
It's close. Good try, Scott.
Sorry,
but
Scott.
I think, when Jake hits a homer, it's called the Crone Zone.
Frankie says
But
Petco Porch / the Crone Zone.
Yeah, but I think in general, it's not called the Crone Zone. Jake has to hit a homer there.
I think Petco Porch has been here a little bit longer than Jake.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Scott. Try again soon. Let's go to Alex in Del Mar.
What's
Hello,
up, Alex?
Hey, I'm stoked for the Vetter Cup.
Okay, cool.
Nice,
Cool.
nice.
Hey, one of us.
Here we go.
Yeah, right. That makes one.
Question number 1. Which is the only MLB team from Canada? Is it which?
Maybe. Yeah, you can get away with
Is it
that.
which? Okay.
I think so.
Toronto Blue Jays.
There you go.
Indeed.
Very good. The Expos used to be in there, of course, but no longer.
Question number 2. What team did Roger Clemens play for twice?
I'm going to go Yankees.
Crankies.
Cross my fingers.
Nice.
You would have
He
got
played-
me on that.
He closed his career with the Yankees in
did.
one season.
I forgot
Did not
about that.
remember. I thought you were going to say besides the Yankees and Red Sox, what was the other team he played for? And the answer would have been Blue Jays again.
And
Anyway,
Astros.
that would have been interesting.
Oh yeah, he was an Astro. Wasn't he?
Astros.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. Tom.
Question number 3. Kurt Schilling won the World Series with 2 teams. Name both.
Diamondbacks and Red Sox.
Wow.
Pretty good player we got there.
Nice job, Alex. Stay right
Alex,
there.
you qualified for Bruno Mars or to possibly go see Bruno Mars.
Yeah, you're in the hunt for it.
Nice
Good
job. Hang on the line.
Well done.
Scraby will get to you here in a second.
I would have missed that one too.
Really?
I would have said the Phillies and Red Sox for some reason. Phillies, he was with them, but I don't think they won when
They
he was
did
there.
not win. When
Yeah,
was
that
there.
was really good on you, Alex. Good contestant.
Back to Nick Cage movies.
He couldn't wait to get this segment over, so we go back to Nick Cage.
You know what's a really good one
we
too?
haven't done in a while?
What?
A top 5
Countdown.
actor.
Well, we have
I
a
think we're
countdown
gonna do it
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Nick
Yeah,
Cage
top 5
tomorrow.
Nicolas Cage movies.
He's also in 8mm is a good movie. I haven't
8
seen that in a-
millimeters are great.
I haven't seen that in forever, but I do remember loving it.
I think you can almost name any movie that's ever been made, and Nicolas Cage might have been in it. He's always regarded as just somebody who'd act in
Worked,
anything.
yeah, he worked.
Just be in anything.
Yeah.
So
Leaving Las Vegas is a really good movie. It's just
What year did Leaving Las Vegas come out?
1995. It says
Oh,
Ben
okay, so it's not that
Sanderson, a
old.
Hollywood screenwriter who lost everything because of his alcoholism, arrives in Las Vegas to drink himself to death. There he meets and forms an uneasy friendship and non-interference pact with prostitute Sarah.
well, the thing is
Elizabeth Shue.
What happens to that character in that movie is what would happen to anybody who just doesn't ever quit, just kept going. And his acting is quite remarkable, and he won Best Actor for it. That was his highlight moment as a performer, I would say.
You know,
Although the other movies you've all mentioned are much bigger box office hits.
I had a big crush on Elizabeth Shue.
There you go. Well, you
would
would have liked that movie.
Adventures in Babysitting and Hollow Man.
Elizabeth Shue was the prostitute that you're talking about.
She was
in that movie.
Yes.
I need to type in Elizabeth Shue so I can get.
You will recognize her once you see her.
Who that is.
You said the Adventures of Babysitting?
Adventures in Babysitting.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. Big crush.
All right.
I got one more Nicolas Cage movie that I'm going to throw in because I got 12 seconds till the break. How about Raising Arizona?
I haven't seen that one.
Strange. But
Strange.
I think you'd like it, Scraby.
All right.
I'm going to make a prediction.
He is into strange stuff.
Yep.
So, I mean,
think you'd like
that
it.
makes sense.
I am depraved.
Where are we going here at this?
We're going to go ahead, Chris.
Oh, that's right. Over and under. Over-unders, right?
For the
it's
NFL.
close enough to the NFL season. Yeah, we got to start getting ready.
All right. Over-under on the other side. NFL.
Record over-unders for 2025.
That's not the word I was looking for. It doesn't matter. On the other side, here's some traffic.
From the
Gwynn and Chris. Brandon Lockridge will be our Friday guest. All right, he is scheduled. So we'll look forward to visiting with him. We'll also have our countdown, which we normally don't decide until 5 minutes before the segment. But this week, we've already decided now. Apparently, we will have our top 5 Nicolas Cage movies. Everybody's getting a head start on the chat, getting their favorites in.
There are so...
Oh, he's done well.
The guy who won Chris vs. the Fans is still on hold. He just told me in the YouTube chat.
Did you forget to go
I
talk
did.
to
I'm
Alex?
sorry,
Oh my
Alex.
God,
All
how
right,
long's
you
he
guys
been there?
talk. I'll get
Wow.
Alex.
It's been over an hour? Oh, no. It's okay.
Not an hour.
Just like 5-10 minutes, though.
Wait a minute. Is this today's winner or yesterday's
We had
winner?
like 3 minutes left in the segment before we let him go on hold.
I
Poor
feel bad.
Alex.
Hold on, Alex. I'm heading for
Well,
you
let's
right
hear-
now.
No, let's listen in on this.
No, because he's gonna have to give his phone number. Hey, Alex. Oh, what? I'm still on the air.
You're on the air, buddy.
Yeah. All right. So Alex is Scraby's taking care of that. We got NBA coming up tonight. Mentioned it a little earlier. OKC Denver. That's a 5:30 tip with the winner. It's game 6. So if OKC wins, they wrap the series. Denver will look to force a game 7 there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I think it'll be the Knicks and Celtics game 6. So
They blew that game.
who?
Denver. They had that
Game
game
5?
Game 5.
Yes,
yeah.
they did. They
had
led
game
the
5.
entire way.
Yep.
And could not. They went cold there in the fourth quarter. I think Denver's been just as good as OKC. I keep waiting to see the OKC that won 68 games and everybody thought was one of the better teams they've ever seen, especially defensively. I've not seen them really lock down on Denver. I saw Denver miss some open shots the other night, but I haven't seen OKC really, stick out yet in this series. Maybe they will tonight.
I don't think OKC, with the exception of the game that they blew them out, which was, I think, game 2.
140 something,
Yeah. They haven't been able to play their style of basketball this whole series. But on the flip side, the fact that they have this series, despite that, tells you how talented they are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe.
But I think Denver's got a chance to win this still.
We'll see with game 6 tonight. All right. NFL schedules came out yesterday. Scraby has some over-unders for us in terms of, teams, what they're going to win and lose. I want to start with the 49ers.
Oh.
Because A, you're in the room. But B, I just don't agree with their total. I don't understand where it's coming from. The 49ers did finish last. We make fun of it, but it's true. They were 6-11. They lost, I think, 8 of their last 11 games.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. They still haven't signed Brock Purdy officially, right? I mean, we don't think he's going anywhere. But Christian McCaffrey forever will be coming off an injury at this point. And the rest of the team is gone. I mean, Deebo Samuel, to a certain extent, they lost a ton of players. What do the people see about the 49ers to get them at a 10-win total, something like
10
that?
10.5.
Yeah, that seems way too high.
Crazy.
Other than the fact that we're used to the 49ers being good.
But they're not good right now.
Right.
The thing is I've been thinking a lot about this. They did cut bait with a lot of guys, and a lot of those guys were past their, if they were to sign into another contract, they're going to get the downside of their career. So they let them go elsewhere. They drafted really well. I know you can't predict how well a team's going to play after you draft well, but Ricky Pearsall is the Deebo Samuel replacement, and people are very excited about him.
Yeah, but I mean, every team has replacements. You don't normally get a high ranking on odds based on people we haven't seen yet.
I get it.
And that's what the 49ers are going to be banking on this year. This is not the same 49ers we saw in the Super Bowl.
It's not.
2 or 3 times there.
Nope.
I think Trent Williams is old now, even though they just gave him a new contract.
Yeah.
And that was a mistake. Brandon Ayuk, mistake.
No.
49ers, though, I think they win 10 games, so I would go under.
Brandon Ayuk is not a mistake yet.
I don't even know if he's going to
recover.
He got hurt.
He did not perform.
He got hurt in week 7, 8?
Something like that.
I don't know, but before that.
It might have been before that. He had like 6 games to play, bro. Chill.
And he did nothing.
He did a lot before that, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes guys get a bunch of money and then they don't play up to the same level.
Okay.
Stop. He
Okay,
tore his
he loves
Achilles.
this.
didn't
No, he tore up his knee pretty
he?
good.
He tore up his knee.
Doesn't count, Tony. He's got his money. He should play no matter what.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't say that because I am a Brandon Ayuk fan.
Let me
I hope he does well.
Okay, give me just real quick. What teams are above the Niners? Because this is the kind of company they're keeping in terms of the over/under.
All right, there's 4 teams with 11.5 over/under: Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Lions.
Those are the teams ahead of the Niners.
Yes.
Say it again.
Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Lions.
That's the cream of the crop of the entire NFL, those 5 teams.
Yep.
And the 49ers are next.
Now, the 49ers, or I'm sorry, the Lions are 10.5.
So they're the same as the 49ers. Now, really, based on what we saw last year, you're going to tell me that the odds should be the same for those 2 teams.
Well, when you
Detroit won 14 games last year.
Doesn't matter. They lost their first playoff game.
So what?
Didn't they? I'm
the
being
Ravens
serious.
lost theirs. I mean, Detroit's better than the 49ers on paper. Tony, help me here.
For sure.
Jose has a good suggestion. Wait, it just moved. It's an easy schedule for them, which is true. The 49ers have the easiest schedule, so maybe that's why they're saying 10.5.
Okay.
But I say 10.
What's interesting is it's an easy schedule based off of last year.
That's right. You don't
You
know
know
who's
what I'm
going
saying?
to
Like,
actually
yeah.
be an easy schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
think, last year Washington on your schedule looked like a
Cakewalk.
walkover, but that didn't turn out to be the case.
Here's an interesting one that I saw, and it's the Patriots.
Okay.
The Patriots are at over under 8.5 wins on the season. I don't know how you can do that or say that, just like the 49ers, because they were bad. They're a building team. Is this just the Mike Vrabel
They
effect?
got Mike Vrabel. They got
Well, Scraby doesn't think that means anything.
It doesn't.
Scraby thinks he's the worst coach in the league.
He's clearly not the worst coach.
I
in
know
the league.
He's not the worst coach in the league. Mike McDaniels is the worst coach in the league.
He's no longer. Well, he is a coach.
I'm not
He's
gonna
actually
argue- I'm
coaching
not
for Vrabel, right?
No, he's the Dolphins head coach.
No, you're
That's
thinking
Josh
of
I was thinking
McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
you can badmouth Mike McDaniels all you want right now, and I'm not going to argue with you until he shapes up. So,
All right, it was
was
just
4.
making a
New
joke.
England won 4 last year, and they won 4 the year before that. Okay, so what is to suggest that they're going to jump to 9 or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Drake May had an okay year. They drafted well,
They
according
did.
to the experts.
Yes.
But yeah, that seems high for them.
Dolphins, 8.5. What do you think, Chris?
I don't, until further notice, I can't think of anything different. They were 8 last year, 8 and 9. They're the 500 team. They're the definition of it in my mind. Till they can figure out a way to beat a good team on the road and or win a game in December, how can they do any better? I mean, the schedule can only be what, as easy as it can be. There's going to be some tough games in there. And Miami can't beat the Buffaloes. They can't beat Baltimore. They can't beat whoever. I think they play Washington this year.
That's not
They just-
that's not the same game as it was going
Right.
into last year.
Yeah, I think that Miami hasn't beaten a good team that I can recall in the Mike McDaniels era.
I will reserve my thoughts on Miami because there is a chance that they realize they need to develop some toughness.
Toughness,
call it.
Yes,
We'll call
right.
it.
Yeah.
And they do what they need to do to become that.
If they can block for Tua, you would think they would have a chance. And perhaps Tyreek Hill really was hurt more than we thought he was last year because he was nothing close to
No.
what he had been.
No. He was
so
not.
we'll see.
To close it out, the Giants are here are the lowest teams.
Yeah, I was going to say who's the
Titans,
lowest?
Jets, Giants, and Browns. So
Titans.
5.5 is what Titans, Jets,
Titans
Giants,
were the
and
worst
Browns.
team last year, right? Because they had the number 1 pick.
Yes.
Jets
We're
have
terrible.
no quarterback
Yeah.
now.
Well, they have Justin Fields.
Okay. Giants. I don't have a lot of faith in the Giants, but I think they drafted well. I just think it's going to take some time.
And the Browns? They have no quarterback either.
If somehow
Shedeur Sanders.
if somehow a quarterback comes out of there, they have a lot of other pieces.
Their defense is decent,
Yeah.
the Browns, right?
Yeah,
They
no,
don't give up a
definitely. The
whole
defense
lot.
is definitely
Yeah.
decent.
Myles Garrett, and they drafted a guy to be right next to him.
Yeah. So, out of those 4 teams, I could see the Browns maybe flipping the script.
I think the Titans.
Okay, I can buy that.
Titans are in the lead to be last.
Now,
again.
and flipping the script does not mean they become like a playoff team. They just are.
Are they going to throw Cam Ward to the Lions?
Yes, without a doubt.
Okay, so then I don't see the Titans doing that.
They're throwing Cam Ward.
See, here's one. I know we need to go to break, but here's one that I don't agree with at all. Saints 6.5. I think the Saints might be the worst team.
Yeah, I think so. For sure.
Kellen Moore's a rookie coach.
They're trying to sell us on the House kid, the kid that they drafted.
Have you seen him throw the ball?
The 30-year-old from Louisville. Yeah,
I saw the one pass that they kept showing at the combine.
Oh, they're doing him dirty. It was one missed pass, but it was a bad pass.
They did him really dirty. Like they kept showing him throwing this like kind of no look pass and it going to nobody.
Somewhere Chris Olave's out there right now scraping going, we're going to show you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he should think that.
Was Chris Olave's, who was his quarterback his first year?
Probably
he was running under some bombs that first year.
I know it wasn't Drew, was it?
Who it was? No,
he was after Drew.
Yeah,
right?
he's after Drew. He's only been in the league a couple of years.
Third or fourth year coming up.
Yeah.
I'll look at this in the break.
We got to go to break.
Yes, we do, and it's Big Five when we get back.
only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're going to be talking about Ronald Acuna Jr. We're going to be talking about flag football in the Olympics, and we are going to be talking about something very strange. Caleb Williams' father is admitting things that I don't know that he should admit, so we'll get to that in just a second. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com.
Number 5.
All right, Ronald Acuna Jr. He was he's injured right now. He's coming back. He made a rehab start yesterday, I think, and he hit a home run. He's already been promoted to AAA Gwinnett from the FCL Florida Complex League, so he's going to be back sooner rather than later. But he has apologized to manager Brian Snitker and his teammates for accusing Snitker of a double standard when policing his players last month. We know Jared Kelnick didn't hustle for a double, and Acuna was benched for the very same thing a few years earlier. And so on Twitter, he shared his displeasure, but he did apologize, and he said that he had apologized to Snitker because he blamed the frustration he felt as he remained unavailable while the team was losing. The quote is, Acuna says he apologized to Snitker and his teammates for the social media post. He blamed the frustration he felt as he remained unavailable. So I've already told you that twice. I didn't need to read that. Tony?
But you're driving the point home because he's on your fantasy roster.
No, it doesn't matter. I do need him back, though. Tony, do you think in a Major League Clubhouse, this is water under a bridge?
It'll be fine. Yeah. He apologized to Snick. I assume Snick accepted his apology. They'll move on. He's a really good player. They need him anyway. But, I don't know that, I'm glad that he did apologize because he handled that completely wrong going through social media. Could have just went in the office and told him how he felt. But I don't know that the clubhouse was like against him. I know Frank Gore and some of the people who don't play on the outside were upset with how he handled it, but we didn't hear from any players actually on the team on that. So I think it'll be water under the bridge.
Chris, water under the bridge for this clubhouse?
I assume so. I'm a little angry at him for apologizing just because Frank Gore wanted him to. Frank Gore came out, he was so, I just thought, so rude in his comments about Acuna that I thought Acuna, if I was Acuna, it would have been hard for me now to say, okay, I'll apologize, but he's probably doing the right thing. I don't think in his mind when he wrote that he really felt he was totally wrong either.
I don't think he was.
It's
a bad way to go about it, but
right.
Certainly what he was saying was accurate.
It was pretty accurate. He got benched for
twice.
The same thing that this manager said. I didn't happen to see that.
That was a stupid response.
I think personally that's probably what he was reacting to more so than the actual not pulling the guy out.
That's why I'm saying I think he had to apologize because it's a better thing to do, but I don't think he was that off base.
Is the excuse lame?
What was the excuse?
The excuse
that
is
he was
frustration he felt as he remained unavailable while the team was losing. I don't see how that has to do with anything.
Is it lame? It's not a good excuse, I don't think. I think he
just apologized with no reasoning.
Yeah, just you know what? I shouldn't have reacted that way on social media.
Although I would be the guy who's like, well, I was really frustrated.
Unless, of course, there is a sentiment that he shouldn't feel that way. Maybe he was acquiescent to that thought of, you can't be talking to your head coach like that. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, water under the bridge now.
I think so.
Number 4.
The 2028 Summer Olympics are going to include flag football for the first time, meaning there's a possibility some of the biggest names in football could represent their country when the games come to LA in 3 years. Not only has the NFL been supported in moving flag football forward, but Commissioner Roger Goodell also made it clear the league's players want to compete. Quote, I've heard directly from a lot of players who want to participate and represent their country, whether it's the United States or the country that they came from, end quote. Chris, if they do allow players to play in this event, what would it look like? Meaning, do they have to sign waivers? Like, how is a team going to handle this when they go and play their flag football in 2028?
I don't think it's a big. I mean, probably ask the NBA teams how do they handle it when their guys play in the Olympics. How do the NHL teams handle it when their guys?
Well,
played in
NHL
the
might be the
Olympics?
better case study because the
Right.
NBA
You can
is
get hurt.
off season.
I know what you're saying, but you can get hurt. Okay, so that's. Oh, the Summer Olympics are during the NFL season?
No.
He's
saying that's why the
NBA, they don't
is
have anything
different.
else, but they're going to be going into training camp and all that. It's kind of like the World Baseball Classic a couple years ago when spring
Yeah.
training and everybody had to leave early.
I don't have a big dog in this race for some reason. I don't
That
know.
is strange.
I just have a feeling they're going to do it and they'll figure it out. And it'll be pretty fun to watch, I think. So, are we going to have a lot of competition though? Like, how's the flag football team?
I have a
in
feeling this is
Netherlands?
going to look just like the NBA when we first.
That's what I'm saying.
when the first.
I mean,
Is
you
it going
got-
to really be competitive?
You
for
got
a
Patrick
while?
Mahomes throwing to Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson.
Who's covering them? From,
Maybe what's my man the flag football guru guy who's like feeling some type of way that we were all assuming that Mahomes was going to be the quarterback.
that's right.
I
Yeah,
also
this
feel
guy's gonna
good.
beat him out.
He might beat him out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Never
it is
know.
his sport.
He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at him for being mad.
I
about it.
think it's something the players want to do. So why not?
All right, anything to add, Tony?
No, did I even give anything?
I don't think
What you just said about flag football guy.
Yeah, that was your turn.
Yeah, no, I think this is good. I think this will get done. I think the players want to do it. It seems like the commissioner and the owners are all in on it. Although they could get to the vote and be like, "Ha, we're gonna vote no."
Yeah, that's true.
They're not
It is
gonna be able to
true.
play.
They'll
It
do
is true.
They'll do it, and you're right, Tony. I mean, the scores are going to be 120-0.
I don't see how.
unless there's some flag football players I don't know about in Norway, or
Flag football, I will say, is becoming a bigger sport on its own. So
They said the same thing about basketball in the early 90s, but
Yeah.
those games were still 103-20, and for the first 5 Olympics.
That's true.
Now they're pretty even.
Now it's going to be like 95-0 in these.
Right.
All right.
Number 3.
Seth Wickersham of ESPN.com has a new book coming out called American Kings, a biography of the quarterback. Caleb Williams is the one making news. Today, ESPN.com posted an article focusing on Williams' reluctance to play for the Bears. In some excerpts of the book, Caleb's father, Carl, told Wickersham, quote, "Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die." He's not wrong. Also, Wickersham reports that Caleb Williams asked confidants regarding Chicago, "Do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it with the former Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron." Carl Williams reportedly was blunt with several agents, saying, quote, "I don't want my son playing for the Bears." Now, Caleb Williams himself apparently had a different target in the same division. He reportedly told his father, "I need to go to the Vikings." And his father said, "Let's do it." What?
After accidents or
Okay, well, we'll get back to this. What the
Traffic
heck?
sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Couple of problems on the North 5 coastline. One is a stalled car reported in middle lanes, just past Carmel Valley Road. Then near the 78, got an overturn crash over to the right shoulder. Southbound side of the 805, an accident clearing up near LaFoy Village Drive. Another crash in the South Bay, South 805, right around Orange Avenue. That's over to the right shoulder. And now northbound side of the 805, just before 43rd, got a crash blocking the slow lane. San Diego, before you cruise out this Memorial Day, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed, just 15 minutes, and you're road trip ready. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Experts you can trust. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for coupons. And Kelly Danik with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
I love you, Kelly, but that was rude. So.
Kelly just deboed our shows. Like, get out of here. Let me give this just traffic
strange.
report.
I didn't touch anything. Anyway, so we were talking about Caleb Williams. Then the Bears, after Caleb says, I need to go to the Vikings, the Bears says, sorry, we're drafting you no matter what. And so he went to the Bears. Tony, why would the Williams family talk about this while he is on the Bears?
I think, it sounds like it's mainly his dad talking on this. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the wisest decision. However, what Scraby didn't mention that's also in the article is that after their first pre-draft meeting, he thought to himself, oh, yeah, I can play here. I want to be there, blah, 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 blah. So at the end of the day, he's a Bear. So it doesn't really matter what he thought pre-draft. I think you can have all types of opinions. I think they saw what Eli Manning was able to pull off. They've seen quarterbacks kind of be able to dictate where they're going. And I think initially going into the process, they thought they were going to do the same thing. But after the first meeting with the Bears, I think at least Caleb's mind changed. I don't know about his dad. It seems like his dad didn't want to go there, period. But Caleb's mind changed. And, as bad as that year was, he finished on a pretty high note. And things are looking up as he's got a whole new head coach and some weapons to play with still.
Chris, why do you think the Williams family would talk about this while he's on the Bears?
I think it's just leftover complaining from I think his father, like a lot of dads, although he'd probably be better off leaving it alone. I think he's trying to defend his son, who's taken a lot of crap from the way he played last year. And I think the dad is trying to say, well, we kind of knew that this was not going to work.
Right.
And we knew that Matt Eberflus was not going to be the right fit.
Or Shane Waldron.
Well, whatever you got there in Chicago. So, we didn't really want this. He did the best with what he had. I think that's kind of what the dad is trying to get across. Whether we're buying it or not, I don't think we are, but that's where I think he's coming from.
Did he really have I wouldn't characterize his rookie year as a bad year.
I said it started off really bad.
It did.
He played better.
Yeah.
He played better by the end.
He got sacked a lot, but that's not necessarily his fault.
That's part of, I think that's what Chris is getting at with his father, is that he's trying to spread out the blame, if you will.
I mean, honestly, the one recollection I have of the Bears' entire season was the debacle on Thanksgiving when they let the clock run out in Detroit without getting a final play or two.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And Caleb Williams was the guy on the field, but don't forget, he wasn't the guy that boxed
it's not
that
his
up
job
necessarily
to watch the clock. That's the head coach's job. And then Eberflus, you gone right after that.
Right.
Number 2.
That was after they lost that Washington game too. Well, my man.
When the bear guy was like waving to the crowd.
Oh, what?
Oh, we just lost? That was funny. I forgot about that.
And then he tipped it right into his hands. Right. That was the ultimate.
Oh, man.
Ultimate
that was
gotcha
rough.
moment.
The San Francisco 49ers are selling a 6% stake in the franchise after a reported record $8.5 billion valuation, according to Sportico. The team is reportedly splitting that share between 3 families, and it's unclear how much each family will own. But as a part of...
Sorry. Yeah, I've seen the show.
I have no idea what just happened. As part of that purchase, the 49ers, they had to put the value of the franchise, $8.5 billion, what they came up with. If accurate, that would be the highest valuation of any sports team in a transaction. So, Chris, do you think the salary cap, and this is not my idea, this was put into the ether by someone else, do you think the salary cap should be tied into franchise's valuation?
Say that again?
Do you think the salary cap should be tied into franchise valuation, meaning 49ers worth $8.5 billion?
So the salary cap ought to go way up so that the players can get more money?
Yes.
Oh.
Is that what that really is trying to say?
Yeah, it's not that.
Or is that what you're settling on?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because the guy who presented the idea, it was not. It was a decent idea, but I didn't know what else to ask, to be honest. So, Chris, take it wherever you want to take
what
it.
you said, Chris. That's what I meant.
I appreciate the promotion to Forbes magazine, but I don't know this stuff too well. I don't think so. But again, this is my lack of business knowledge on this answer. Just because a team is said to be worth that doesn't mean that's how much money they have.
True.
So I don't think the salary cap can be based on
it's not the
what
cash
they're
flow.
worth. We can't pay you out of the money that we're worth. We can only pay you out of the money that we have. So it's lack of business knowledge. Somebody else probably is sitting there going, "No, Chris, you don't get it."
You know what I'll say, Chris?
So I'll admit to that if that's true. But
I
don't think so.
It's a lack of a good Big Five question. That's what it is. So, Tony, take it wherever you want to go.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't even understand the question.
I don't either.
I know that they were evaluated at 8 point whatever billion.
5 billion, yeah.
And they're going to sell 6%. They're going to jack the price up on that, I'm sure.
How much is 6% of 8.5 billion, Scrape? I'm wondering how many shows and how many years you're going to have to work here before you can
buy a stake in the 49ers.
Are you doing it right now? Are you?
I don't
Here,
know.
I'm going to get the calculator.
I got the calculator out.
What is it? 8.5 billion times 6%? I don't know if I
0,
can.
0, 0 times
Yeah,
0.06.
that's a lot of zeros.
510 million.
Whew.
That's 6%.
Hey, you want 6%? It'll cost you 510 million.
Well, they're getting 6% total. So it's divided by 3. Say one family has 1%, another family has 3%, and the other family has 2%.
No, I thought they said they're selling it for 6%. They're selling 6%.
They are selling 6%, so $510 million worth of the franchise.
Right.
I don't know why I even put this question in here because I'm even confused on this.
You know, math is not our thing.
No, math is not my thing.
It's not his. We know that.
Yeah, it's definitely not mine.
I'm good at number one. I don't want to be lumped into that.
You know, Jesse always says on the air, Tony, my math skills aren't that great. And I'm like, Jesse, I'm sorry, but Tony works with one guy that's way worse at math than you are, Jesse.
Way worse.
All right. Members of the Ohio General Assembly are very concerned about college football because a bill has been introduced in the legislature to prohibit Ohio State and other state schools from playing most of its home games before 3:30 p.m. Under the terms of the proposal by Republican Tex Fisher, games including at least one state school and games including top 10 teams would be prohibited from starting earlier than the mid-afternoon with one exception, the annual Michigan game. The early start times have drawn frustration from fans who attend the games for many reasons, and including it has drawn frustration because fans say that they can't tailgate properly during the day.
Oh my God, we got to write a bill for this?
But Fox is the reason why Ohio State and other Big Ten teams get so much money per year because
big noon kickoff and they give us all the money for it.
Exactly.
Do these people know that when they do this stuff?
No. Chris or Tony's up first. Do you think noon is too early for a football game to start? A college football game?
No, I don't. I mean, it's not perfect, but I don't think it's too early. I mean, shoot, just for us folks on the West Coast, we got to get up at 9 to watch that game.
Yeah?
Or 10 to get to watch that game.
But they can't tailgate.
Yeah, you can. You just gotta
get up.
You gotta get up earlier.
Get a mimosa, my man.
Yeah.
Get a mimosa, my man. This is also, I don't know if it's the same guy, but there's also that whole bill that they're trying to do for no flag planting.
Oh, yeah. It might be the same guy.
It probably is. Tex Fisher. Chris, do you think noon is too early for a college football game?
I think that we got a lot bigger problems than that. And I'm assuming now Ohio has another problem because they have to deal with this dork who should be out there representing the constituents that he does represent.
Maybe this is what they want.
Perfect. No, I will say this. The Aztecs, when I did the games with Ted, we played a couple of games in the Eastern time zone that started at noon. I thought that was kind of unfair to our players.
Because they're at 9 a.m.
That was 9 a.m. body clock for a football game. I thought that was too early. But this whole thing is a hill of beans. This is stupid.
Hill of beans.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going into the happy hour, which you will hear the roundtable. And the happy hour is brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. The Padres are looking great this season, but is your pool? Call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. We got Brandon Lockridge tomorrow, and we have a
Nicolas Cage
countdown of
countdown.
Nicolas Cage movies. So
That's gonna be fun.
that is going to be
It will
fun.
be. Stay tuned for the Padres Roundtable, commercial-free Padre Talk. Then Scraby after that at 6 o'clock. So don't go anywhere. We got you covered. Let's see. Is it Con Air? Is it leaving Las Vegas?
It really is pizza royalty. The crew this week, to my left, Chris Ello. Next to him, Braden Soprenit. We welcome back from the long road trip, Tony Gwynn Jr. Hello, Tony.
Thank you, sir.
We got Stephen Woods and Matthew Scraby today. Padres, of course, winning 2 series since we last joined you last Thursday against the Colorado Rockies and the Los Angeles Angels. And guys, we are now officially over 1/4 of the way through the Major League Baseball season. The Padres are on pace to win over 100 games this year. Of course, that would be a franchise record. 98 is the current mark. So let's start right there. I think none of us picked a 100-win team when we had the predictions at the beginning of the season. What are the arguments now in favor? Is this a 100-win team? Let's start with Braden today. Is this a 100-win team, Braden, going forward? Do you see any reason why they would be slowing down their pace the rest of the season?
No, I mean, even with the bullpen struggled, but then bounced back. The offense, when they went through a struggle, when they get back to full health, they bounce back. I don't think it's a situation where it's going to peter out. So I think they got a really good chance of potentially doing it, which is kind of shocking to me because I thought last year's team was going to be able to maybe make a run at a higher win total than they did compared to this year's team. Going into the season, could you imagine saying they're going to win 100 games? People would look like, get this guy off the air. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I think they might have a decent chance, and we don't even know what's going to happen potentially in July.
Woods, I know you're going to just lower your prediction even more because that's what you do every time things are good. So,
Yes.
what, are they going to crack 70? What are we thinking, 68?
So I started the year at 82. No, 81. 81. There was 81 and 81. And then they got off to the hot start, came back. You asked me to modify it, and I said 77. So now I'm going to say 69. 69 wins. This is a 69-win team.
Nice.
No, I want to manage my expectations. They are, I said it last week. I believe in this team. I said it on the roundtable. I believe in this team tenfold what I thought 40 games ago. I really do. They are a delight to watch. They grind. They're resilient. When guys go down, guys step up. It's been really fun. And it's an impossible question. I would say if they remain semi-healthy, then yes, this could be a 100-win baseball team.
Tony, of course, your dad played for the 98 team that set that franchise record of 98 wins, and that was a really good team with veterans in the lineup, really great pitching led by Kevin Brown and Andy Ashby. But as you kind of compare the two teams then and now, you can look at this team and say they have everything that 98 team also had. Can they exceed that 98 win total at the end of this year?
I think there's a lot of similarities to that 98 team. But I think the one thing about that 98 team, there really was no one else in the division that was really all that close. And considering how tough this division is, I'm gonna say they're going to be short of 100. But that doesn't mean that they can't win the division. Doesn't mean that the season won't be a very successful one. I just think 100 wins in this division would really, really tough, considering how the Giants are playing or have played, and the Diamondbacks playing. Obviously, the Dodgers are doing what they're doing. So I say they're just short of it.
Yeah. Can we get Greg Vaughn to hit 50 home runs? If we get Greg Vaughn to hit 50 home runs, I think we can get 100. I think we are.
Chris, obviously,
set.
you remember that team in 98, but Tony makes a really good point. Padres still have to play every game left against the Dodgers, every game left against the Diamondbacks, all but 2 against the Giants. It's a lot of tough games where, hey, if you're going 500 in those games, you're playing really good baseball.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. I don't think they'll make 100. 100 is really special. And this division doesn't lend itself to making 100, but they can win 99 or, break the record.
Right.
I just think 100 just seems like – but the other thing about the 98 team, I'm sure Tony remembers, and you probably do.
Terrible September.
They were awful in September. Like they had it locked up to get to 100, and then they couldn't win a game the last few weeks of the season. So, yeah, I think they're going to come up a little short. The 98 team had a left fielder that could hit. I think you mentioned it just a moment ago. So this team has a few things that they're going to have to address moving forward, and they will. And I think they're going to be just as good, in September as they've been right now. But I don't think the schedule lends itself.
We'll get to that left field question in just a second. But, Matt, I want to give you a chance to sound off. I mean, there's a lot of strength on this team, top to bottom, that you see in a 100-win type team. Can the Padres get there?
You guys, I was going to say yes, but you're right. The division is just too hard, and they're going to be playing a lot of games against really good teams in their own division. And they've already played, 6 against the Rockies, so they don't have that to fall back on anymore. But I think I predicted before the year it was like either 93 or 94 wins, and I was looked at like I was crazy, and I had 5 heads coming out, because that was not something that people thought was going to happen. But I don't think we thought Manny was going to be this good this early. And I heard you, Tony, and Jesse talking about this the other day. He's coming up on 2,000 hits, and his homer total might start ticking up once he gets to 2,000 hits. Is it really possible that Manny Machado is chasing 2,000 hits? While I mean, he is chasing 2,000 hits, but is it really possible that he could just make it happen like that?
I mean, it seems like it. I mean, ever since that number has been at the forefront of the year, and this is as good of a pure hitting Manny Machado that we've seen here in San Diego.
All right, let's we'll hold on Manny in a second because I want to get to him as well. But let's talk about left field because it's clearly one of the few areas of concern right now on the roster. The Padres are getting literally the least amount of offensive production out of the left field position in all of Major League Baseball. And I don't think you all got to meet Jason Hayward, Tony. I'm sure you know him really well. Like the guy, he's giving you some defense, some clubhouse leadership, but the production is simply not there. My prediction this week was that the starting left fielder on August 1st is not currently in the organization. But for now, what would you do with that position? And there's options still in the minor leagues. We've seen most of them already, like Oscar Gonzalez, Tirso Ornelas, Brandon Lockridge got the start yesterday. Tyler Wade's been out there a little bit. Or you can keep going with Jason Hayward and hoping he turns it around. Chris, what would you do at least for the time being, before a massive trade with left field for the Padres?
Yeah, I like what they did last night, giving Hayward a night off to think about it and sit and watch a little bit. And Lockridge came through. He had a big hit in that ball game. That going from a 2-run lead to 4-run lead, especially with your bullpen scuffling a little bit, that was a big old hit. So, stay with that. I think you can I don't know if you can get away with Gavin Sheets in left field on a consistent basis. I think you got to mix and match. You got to hope you get something from Jason Hayward. I do struggle personally with a lineup that at the moment features 2 kind of automatic outs at the bottom. If you go Jason Hayward and Martin Maldonado, they've been able to overcome it and get enough, but I think over time that's going to cost them. So you hope Jason Hayward picks up. I think he's got another month and a half. I said I'm sure some people would like to say, this is enough, but that's silly. You got to at least go into June, early July. He's a veteran. He deserves that, but then you'll have to address.
Yeah, Brandon Lockridge came through with some insurance, but Woods, you and I made the point this morning that you don't really want to see Brandon Lockridge in the starting lineup because you're taking away what his real value is, and that's the speed and versatility and defense that he brings you off the bench at the end of games when you actually need them. So what would you do at left field right now?
I mean, I think you have to be looking out there. I think AJ probably is looking, I would guess, to see what's out there. The left fielder tree is not sprouting fruit right now. You can't go out there and pull one out there. It's going to cost you. The mix and match for now is absolutely fine. Great call to put Lockridge out there last night. Clutch hit. I like the player a lot. His value is, like you said, he's in the 8th and 9th inning, defensive replacement, running the bags, getting a bunt down. I mean, that's so valuable to have a guy like that off your bench, can play every outfield position if you need it. I think you have to go get somebody. I do it as much as I wanted it for Jason Hayward. I think the AB the other night, man, it looked like he was lost. He really like jumping at pitches kind of outside the zone. I'm like, he doesn't have much confidence right now. And I can understand why. I want it for him. Believe me, I love the dude. I absolutely love the dude. One of my favorite interviews we've ever done. And I really want it for him. But hey, man, it comes for all of us at some point.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, patience is always a possibility. There are guys who get off to bad starts for a month and a half and then end up having decent seasons. Do you have that patience in you with Jason Hayward still?
I do, because he's playing good enough defense to make a difference on that end. If he wasn't playing good enough defense, then there's really not a spot for him. But because he is covering left field pretty well, and left field at Petco Park is a tough place to play, I think that he does have a little bit more time because of that. But as Wood said, I love the guy. I don't want to see him go anywhere. I hope he starts hitting, but it's not looking like that. So as long as his defense can outweigh what he's doing at the plate, I think that he'll stay on the team maybe until they make a move.
Save Tony for last year. Braden, get your thoughts on left field for the Padres.
I agree with Chris. I think you just got to keep finding and playing the hot hand. I think currently with Lockridge and maybe when you decide to part ways with Hayward, it's Oscar Gonzalez. I think those are your two best options. I agree with you, Ben, though, in the general scheme of things, and I think everybody here agrees that come August, your starting left fielder will probably is not currently on this particular team. The thing with Jason Hayward, I think he brings a lot of things like behind the scenes that probably help the Padres. I think he contributes in a sense of leading some of the younger guys and teaching some of the younger guys and being a good clubhouse guy. The problem with that is you can't have too many of those guys, and the Padres have a couple of those guys already as part of the roster. So you can't build your team on that, but you know his best days are past them. Obviously, he had a great career. I'd be shocked if he's still on the team past June or July. But last year, like David Peralta was on his way for about to get cut, and he hit a home run against Texas and went on a little bit of a tear. So crazy things can happen. I know we haven't seen that out of Hayward the last couple of years, but yeah, I agree with Chris. I think you got to give him at least till June. He deserves that.
I think for me, from a production standpoint, I know that it was a little up and down. I liked what I saw from Oscar Gonzalez. The swing, but it was really close to really getting hot a couple of times. Never quite got there, but yeah, I'd bring him back up. I'd start him more, have a really quick hook defensively when you get leads. You can go with one of your guys, but I don't know, Tony, I value your opinion here and what you're seeing from Jason Hayward. You've seen guys struggle. Yeah. You've seen them pull themselves out of struggles, but at some point in the career, you do have to realize you're not the same player. What are you seeing from him, and what would you do there in left field?
I think every situation is different. The Padres offense is an offense that can absorb having 1-2 guys like that in the lineup, as long as they're doing things on the other end. Martin Maldonado, the way he handles the staff and what he brings defensively is enough, because the Padres offense is really so dynamic. And so, there's that. In terms of Jason, yeah, he struggled. I don't think he would tell you differently. And I think eventually the Padres will address it. But this point in the season is made for guys like Lockridge and Gonzalez and those guys when they had an opportunity. Now, in terms of what's in the minor leagues, those guys they were sent down for a reason. So whether, we thought Oscar was swinging the bat well or not, they thought he needed to go down and work on something. And it's incumbent upon those guys to then go down and do what they're supposed to do so that they can get the call up and be ready. And so I have no doubt AJ will address the needs of this team at some point, but it's certainly not going to be in May. And I think as long as this offense continues to put up the type of run totals they can, they probably will let it ride until there's either a change in that or something becomes available.
You're listening to our 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable, presented by Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. I mentioned Manny Machado earlier. Woods has been on the Manny Machado train since even before the Padres signed him. Even when San Diego wasn't sure about Manny, Woods, you were always sure about Manny. We're seeing a different kind of Manny. 14-game hitting streak, the average 340, way up from his career numbers. The power numbers down, only 3 home runs. The question for the panel, and I'll start with you, what's the best version of Manny Machado? Are we seeing it now? Have we seen it in the past? What's the ideal version of Manny Machado for Stephen Woods?
This is it, man. Watching him hit on a nightly basis now is a marvel. And the times that he's tried to go bridge this year have been some of the ugliest swings I've ever seen. The hanger the other night that floated up there, and he, uncorked one, missed it by foot, and I was like, bro, just get back to doing what you were doing. He probably is dreaming about that pitch because that's a pitch that he's punished. And man, for whatever reason, like watching him hit right now it's art. I mean, he's like almost 500 in his last 14 games. It just doesn't happen. And he's not striking out a bunch. Obviously the defense is always solid. I think this is the best version of Manny Machado. I mean, this is where you can do a lot of damage in a lineup with a guy that's on base 50% of the time right now. I think he's spectacular right now.
Matt, when you're picking up the phones and talking to the Scravenators, I don't know. It does feel like there's still some fans who have discontent with this version of Manny Machado. He's not hitting for enough power. He's not driving in enough runs. And I get that. I keep getting that sense, but I mean, I feel like this is about as good as you can get a player locked in right now, the way he's hitting. It's hard every time off the bat. What more can you ask for?
What do you tell these people about ball right here?
Oh, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. I mean, anybody who's complaining
Whatever he
about Manny,
says here, they're going to say that he doesn't know ball.
Oh, that's exactly true. But Tony, Chris, and I figured out yesterday during Sports Court that whenever someone tells you that, you have to get them back by proving it to them and then telling them they don't know ball.
Still doesn't work.
It doesn't work. They don't listen. But if you're not a fan of this Manny Machado, then I don't know what you're watching. Like, this is the best Manny Machado that I've seen. And he is, I was telling the guys the other day, he makes it look so easy that it makes it seem like I could go up there and throw the bat out there. And I know Tony's shaking his head.
He's not that good,
but that's how easy he's making it look. And he's taking the ball the opposite way. And he's running the base as well. I don't know who doesn't like this version of Manny Machado.
I would.
I do.
I don't. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing, Tony. I mean, it's probably one of the hardest things as an athlete is to try to make adjustments when things are going well. I mean, you're probably just trying to keep it where it is as long as possible. So you wouldn't mess with anything right now.
That's the mistake that we all have made, right? Is that I can make it a little bit better, and then that's when it tanks. And I'm reluctant to say that this is the best version because I'm not sure quite yet what this version is going to look like in the end, right? He's hitting above 330 right now. And I believe that as we get further into the season, these doubles and the gaps are going to start turning into home runs. And so if we get a guy who's got hitting 330 and has 25 homers, and I mean, that would be then the best version of Manny Machado we've ever seen. But it's certainly shaping up to look like this is going to be the best version of Manny that we've seen.
I mean, you've seen every AB he's taken this year. Think about all the barrels that he's hit that have been right at the right fielder or right at the left fielder. I mean, he is just like his expected batting average is way higher than 340 right now.
To me, those are the two biggest things that watching, the Padres offense this year is that Manny and Toddy are not chasing as much. And so you're seeing the walks a little bit more, and they're just making it really tough, particularly Manny on pitchers. Cause there was a thought that they could, come in hard in and then soft away and get him off his game. He's not fishing at none of that right now.
I'll go a step further, Chris. I'll say if Manny keeps going like this and just keeps hitting line drive after line drive and finishes with 11 home runs, I still think that would be a fantastic season. If he's hitting 330, 340 with a ton of doubles and, just constantly tormenting opposing pitchers, I don't care what the final home run total is. That's a great baseball player right there.
They still won't give him the Gold Glove, though.
Which is ridiculous.
They'll find a way to give it to somebody else. You know what? I think the best version of Manny Machado still needs to hit a few more home runs. I love this. But we have Luis Arraez in the lineup to hit 340 and get on base and hit singles and doubles. I do think as this season goes along, and I think he'll provide it, but I think you need a little more power. He's the number 4 hitter, number 3-4 hitter. You've got to have somebody in the middle of the lineup hitting 25, 30 home runs. Maybe it'll be Jackson Merrill. But I think the better version of Manny hopefully can stay above 300, but gets up closer to his 25 or 30 home run total. I'm not asking him to change what he's doing now, though, because this is too been too successful for him. He's on base all 4 times last night. The line drive he hit up the middle in the first inning, he looked like he could have said to the pitcher, I'm going to hit this line drive off the second base bag, and then just did it. That's how locked in he is.
Braden.
But I think the better version needs a few more homers.
Braden, Chris makes an interesting point. You're getting the only home runs you're really getting are from your leadoff spot, which is not necessarily where you want all your home runs. Everyone else has, 3 in the rest of the Padres order. Is that, whatever you feel about Manny, you can talk about Manny. Is that a big deficiency in the Padres order that, from 2 through 9, you have a bunch of 3 or 4 home run hitters right now?
I don't think so. And, I'm wearing my USD baseball polo, and I've learned a lot of offense, and offensive philosophy through a great mind in Brock Ungridge, who does it at the college level, who was taught by Tony's dad. And, a lot of things that he says is the same stuff that Victor Rodriguez is running of a line drive mentality. And when I've seen that team play at a high level, they're hitting line drives and they're trying to hit the gaps. And those teams usually at some point start to put a bunch of balls over the fence. And it's not like they're trying to hit home runs. It just happens when you continue that philosophy of hitting line drives. So I think over the summertime, you're going to get those numbers. I think fans, in this day and age of baseball are thinking about the home runs and everything like that. I mean, you could look at, Ward, who kind of wore us out the last couple of days. I mean, he's hitting $190, but he puts the ball over the fence. I'd rather have the guys that are hitting high averages that eventually are going to get some of those home run numbers. So I like the style of play that the Padres are playing of hitting the gaps, creating pressure, continually putting pressure on the other teams. I think it's a reason why they could get to 100 games, to go back to our first question. And that style of play travels. You're not relying on the big hit. I think if you want to get back to being the home run hitting team and relying on the big hit, look at the 2023 Padres that relied on the big hit. It didn't work out for them in the long run. So it's a little bit different baseball. You got a little Southern California college baseball on a Tuesday night, busting out at Petco Park a lot. But you know what? That style of baseball wins, and there's a lot of teams that are starting to transition back to that level of baseball. In terms of Manny, here's one thing that I've noticed out of Manny Machado that's not on the field. I've been going in the clubhouse since I started working here, last, 5, 6, 7 years. And Manny is just, to me, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe it's just the days I've caught him. He seems, and this is going to sound dumb, he seems happy. He seems comfortable. He seems happy. I think he loves being a dad. I think he's enjoying that. I think he feels, he seems relaxed. And he's not as, and he hasn't always been like that in San Diego. I've always had to tell people he's matured. He's not as confrontational with the media as he has been in the past. He's been more open to stuff. And, maybe that's just the couple days I've caught him, but I felt like there's a little bit of a change there. You see him, he was arguing about a call earlier in the season, and he ends up having a kind conversation with the home plate umpire. He pats him on the back, and he goes, okay, and he gets satisfied. He gets tossed 4 years ago, early in the game, losing his mind on something. I feel like he's really embraced that veteran leadership role. Again, I don't see him every day like Tony does, but that's kind of the sense I'm getting out of him right now. And I think, honestly, that side, that human side, is really helping him play.
Shameless plug for the Scraby Show tonight, Manny Machado Appreciation Show, and I'm going to go through all of his exit velocities during his 14-game hitting streak. So all of his hits during the 14, because I was looking at it. There's a lot of red numbers in that exit velocity column, so shameless plug.
From what Braden said, would you guys agree that Manny, one of the reasons he's become a better player is because A.J. Preller has surrounded him with better players as well? And I don't intend this as a criticism of Manny, but I don't think he was ever the guy that could be the sole superstar that carried a team. He always was better as a part of an ensemble. Now, you're paying him a lot of money, so people expect you have to be able to carry the team when you're paying that. But I think Manny is always going to be his best when he feels like, hey, just move it line to the next guy, do what I do so well. Don't have to be the leader that does everything in the clubhouse for everyone. Tony, do you feel like Manny is better off surrounded by this group in particular?
Yeah, but I mean, who isn't? I think all the big name stars that we talk about and that we love, all that are good, they're all surrounded by other good players. And so I don't think Manny's unique in that standpoint. I do agree that he has matured, and I've said that over the last couple of years, from the time he started till now. I think what also has to be understood is that Manny wasn't from here. The year he came over here, everything is new, and that doesn't just happen overnight. Like over a year or two, you start to get comfortable with the faces that you see on an everyday basis. You start to get comfortable with the people that you have to have conversations with. And, again, as you get older, these things start to be more, I don't want to say important, but you start to recognize that, the importance of these interactions. And so I'm sure being a father also helps. It's just life, right? And so he's came here as a young man, and he's developing as he grows older, and I think that's what we're seeing.
And Woods, I would say that Manny was never confrontational.
Yeah,
maybe we were lucky. We've always had a good relationship with him. But I just get the sense that, Manny is a matter-of-fact kind of guy. He's not going to speak in sound bites that are easy for
cliches,
easy for consumption.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that he was very genuine, very forthright, and you can't really ask more of that when you're talking to a player. Just because he's not saying what you expect him or want him to say doesn't mean he's confrontational or bad with the media.
No, I mean, he's always been great to us, for sure. We've had great conversations with him. He's opened up a lot over the last few years, and the dad thing, I am such a better person as a father than I ever was when I wasn't. A little bit more wise, a little bit less quick to fly off the handle, and have perspective on life and things. But I mean, watching him every night lately has been, I've always enjoyed watching him. But this has been incredible, man. Just that beautiful right side, bam, 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 right in the gap. He's best hitter on the team right now.
Has everybody seen the Manny tries to be a nanny ESPN?
Yeah, of course.
commercial?
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Their sunglasses.
Yeah, I just think that's kind of what I'm, Manny to a nutshell, but now the mature Manny beyond that.
It's our 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. And I'm not going to go in order. I'm throwing this question out to the group. Anyone feel like jumping in? Because I think 6 minds are better than 1. I know baseball is a crazy sport when weird, unexplainable things happen all the time. Does anyone have any idea how a bullpen can go from the most dominant in baseball by a wide margin for a month and a half and then have the worst week in franchise history? I mean, not like a bad week, not they kind of fell back a little bit. No. It was the worst week of bullpen that the Padres have ever had in their almost 60 years of baseball. And then fortunately last night came back and looked just like, the guys beforehand. Is there any? There's no injuries to explain it. I'm scratching my head that how does that happen?
I mean, few of us on this panel are married. Right? 2 weeks, lights out. This is unbelievable. All of a sudden, one day, that person that you met and married and fell in love with, you look at it and you go, I don't know who you are. I don't know what happened. Bro, bullpens, like marriages, can be very volatile. And at times, it makes no sense. It's inexplicable. And you go, did I just say that? Or did I just do that? I've never done that. Or why did she do that, right? Jeremiah Estrada leaving his really excellent fastball up that Joe Adell happened to be looking for, keying in on a fastball, eyes up in the zone, looking to do damage. He got ambushed. And then he got ambushed again does the next hitter think, he's going to throw the same pitch? No, he's sitting off speed, and he ambushes me. The guy that had hit 1 home run, I think. It's just volatile. They're volatile, and they always will be volatile. And, again, this is May. I really don't care about a bullpen struggling in May. I need them rounding into form come October. When we just saw a team with just a bullpen win a World Series literally just a bullpen. That's when I need these guys to be elite. So get it out of the way now, learn from your mistakes, sequence better, whatever you want to say, but they're volatile. They really are. And we've been lucky because ours hasn't been outside of a week.
It's almost frightening, Matt, how valuable bullpens are, but you just don't know. I mean, you mentioned the Dodgers last year, the Phillies, when they were when they beat the Padres in the playoffs, and their bullpen was just lights out. And then all of a sudden, just wasn't
the next series. Like they looked like they'd never pitched a baseball.
And I don't know, is there anything you can do and try to? I mean, you don't want to overwork them. Obviously, throughout the course of the season, you can try to watch innings, but you also want them locked in. I would hate to be the guy, in this case, Mike Schilt and Ruben Niebla and Ben Fritz, who has to try to manage a bullpen over 162 games plus another, maybe 15 to 20 in the postseason.
I think the key thing that the Padres need to do and have done even through this week is just keep things consistent and keep guys in their roles and ride the good with the bad. I think what happens to some other teams and other organizations is they overreact to a bad stretch, and this guy's now not your closer, and that guy's not your eighth inning guy, and the guy who's been coming in the fourth inning's coming in the eighth inning. So don't overreact to it. Let us overreact to it, but you don't overreact to it. And to try and explain it, I think is just, I don't think I can top Woods's explanation. But in baseball terms, I would just tell you that Barry Bonds, no 4 home run games. Babe Ruth, no 4 home run games. Scooter Gennett, 1 4-run home run game. So that's baseball, I think I'll say.
My DMs will tell me that they're tipping their pitches or something like that. That's like the new thing, I guess, for people. And I
some of it, I think, a little bit.
Oh, maybe a little bit, but Robert Suarez just couldn't throw a strike the other night. That was really brutal to watch. But you never really talk about middle relief until they start doing bad things. And so the bullpen is a very thankless job. They could come in, shut it down 10 straight times. They blow, they give up a couple runs, and then everybody wants them DFA'd. And I can't do that anymore.
Well, they can't either. There's not those arms sitting out there. They
Who's
can't
better?
do it either. Right.
Yeah, but the bullpen, I don't know.
Is this almost the best case scenario for a bullpen collapse? You actually won 2 of the games because you had such a huge lead in Colorado, and you came back and walked off the Angels. And no one really has to feel bad because they all messed up. So no one's sitting there on their island going, God, I'm messing it up for the whole team. Maybe we should make a change. Maybe we need to move Jeremiah or Adam or Suarez or whatever. You don't really have anything to do. You just keep it rolling. You just thank your lucky stars it didn't cost you 7 losses in a row when they did this.
They went 3-4 during that stretch. Now, one of the games was Kolek's game, but me and Tony discussed this. They should have gone 0-7. So, that's kind of tells you a little bit of how the season's going.
I mean, that was great. Had they gone 0-7, that would have been terrible, but that would have been a part of what it is. I mean, this is, as you guys have all pointed out in different ways, whether we're talking the Babe Ruth 400 game. I mean, the Padres were like the last team on the planet to get a freaking cycle. So, I mean, these things happen in baseball. They're not necessarily, there's always a technical reason why, things are happening, but this is kind of what happens in the game over the course of a season.
And a marriage.
Bullpen thoughts.
Bullpen. I mean, I think it's like any sport. And I said on my show, I mean, sometimes, like in football, your offense is not humming and your defense and special teams got to pick it up and kind of take over for when you go through a little bit of a slump. And I think you're going to see that throughout the entire season. I mean, the beginning part of the year, the bullpen was keeping you in games and where the offense kind of struggled a little bit. So just got to go through cycles. Not that big of a deal. It happens in baseball. And we'll see if they can make the adjustment, but so far so good after the one day after the fact.
We're into the second half of our 97 Through the Fan Padres Roundtable presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. It is pizza royalty. They bring it to you commercial free every Thursday. And I always like to take a little break somewhere in the middle for our 7th inning stretch, which I'm combining with the Roundtable draft this week. So it's not only a stretch, it's also a draft. It is Vetter Cup weekend. And of course, grunge legend Eddie Vedder is officially part of the festivities now. So we have a musical 7th inning stretch today. And the draft order is going to be reverse time slot. So Scraby, Chris, Tony, Braden, Woods, Ben from later in the day to earlier in the morning. The question is, you get to pick your favorite best subgenre of rock and roll. So, metal, alt, arena, whatever. What's the best genre of rock and roll? And Matt, you get to lead us off in the draft and reasons why.
I feel sitting next to Woods, who has all the music knowledge in the entire world. I'm just going to say something stupid because I'm not really a music guy, but I will say I do enjoy metal a lot, and I am a
Does not
big
surprise me.
Slipknot. I'm a Pantera guy. I'm a all of that. Like if you could scream,
I would have never known.
I've never
Really?
seen
Yeah.
Woods look at you with more respect.
I am now officially a Screaminator. Just now, I am officially. I need a shirt.
Yes, I will get Woods a shirt.
I'm in. I'm all in.
But yeah, metal for some reason has always been my thing. I was a little emo kid in high school, and I had the stretched ears in college and all that stuff. But metal just gets me pumped up for some reason.
All right, metal is off the board. You can come up with your own subgenre as well. This is pretty open. Chris, you are next up.
Pretty confident I'm not going to steal anybody's here.
Yacht rock.
You're asking what kind of rock music I like the best, right? Soft rock.
Soft rock.
Nothing surprised me.
Absolutely.
Barry Manilow.
Give me a couple of artists that you enjoy on the soft rock genre.
rock.
Sade.
Ooh.
Tony mentioned Barry Manilow. I don't even know that he's soft rock. I think he might be
didn't mention Barry
different.
I did.
Yeah, I don't. I just like the kind of the smooth, easy rock music with some beat to it, not just solos. I like some drums and
Journey.
and okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, they get even a little. I do
They're
like
a little
Journey.
heavy for you.
I mean,
Polar opposites between him and Scraby right now.
if you're talking Journey and Open Arms, or are you talking, Journey with one of their harder rock songs? No, I just like soft rock is my answer. I don't want to go any further
all right.
there.
All right, next up, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Yeah, no, I don't have a genre out of rock and roll at all, a subgenre out of rock and roll at all.
None? Not even a little.
Not even
going
a little.
Rap rock?
Nah, is there such a thing?
There is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nah, I don't.
Linkin
I
Park is
don't
rap
have a. I don't have a subgenre.
You like no rock and roll music?
I mean, there's some songs that
country
I know from friends that may listen to it, but
Country rock's a thing.
What would you listen to before games and stuff? I heard your dad used to hit listening to jazz.
Jazz.
A lot of jazz.
Love jazz.
Yep.
It
Which
just
would
depends.
make me insane trying
just-
to hit like.
It just depends on. It just,
I would go nuts. I would absolutely go nuts. I would lose my mind. I think I tried it. Bogsy and I tried it one time. I was like, turn this off. I can't do this.
That's funny you said that
Yeah.
because when guys used to come work with him,
Yeah.
like Ryan Howard and like Justin Up, I remember they came. He had the jazz just blare, and in their mind they probably were like, "What are we listening to?
Turn this off. I'm getting worse by the minute."
That was his thing. It depends on what I was trying to accomplish. Like if I was trying to like be calm, I'd do some R&B and kind of go that way. Yeah.
That'll work. Yeah,
That's a sub.
But I was very
subgenre.
rarely trying to be calm. I was mostly trying to
Trying
get
to get
myself.
pumped
So
up.
it'd be some type of hip hop.
Braden.
Growing up, like alt rock was kind of was
Yep.
what I was into, but that's like there's like a bunch of different types of alt rock because you can have like kind of the punk level of like Blink-182 and stuff like that. But right now, like the kind of the country rock is kind of where I'm at, so I'm gonna go with that. Treaty Oak Revival right now is kind of what the band that I've been listening to a lot. They're from Odessa, Texas, and they got some good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of country music now. It's basically like rock and roll because they don't make a lot of that stuff anymore. So
I feel like
I'm
you
gonna
want to
go
be
with
from
country rock.
Texas, don't you?
I like the South. Yeah, it's good. Nashville, like to me, the music they play, like the bars on Broadway, is like a mix of rock and like country and stuff like that. So that kind of genre for right now is what I'm into. But Blink-182 is always near and dear to my heart.
Woods, I know you
I got
still-
love for Blink-182.
You have a lot of thoughts on this subject. I'm sure. What's left for you?
20 minutes left.
The floor is yours, my
Take
friend.
us home.
I mean, for me, it just depends on the day. I'll tell you what I've been lately has been. I'd say goth rock.
Goth rock.
Yeah. Kind of.
I'm a Woodsinator.
Kind of gothy.
Woodsinator.
I mean, it's moods, right? It's moods. It's kind of what you need for the day. I always go. Eddie Vedder's coming to town. Pearl Jam changed my life. Got me out of hair metal, which I still love.
Hair metal.
got me into grunge, and I really went down that rabbit hole for many years. But
Do you listen to this goth before you hit the gym? Is that the mode? Is that the frame of mind you're trying to be?
I'm like it's like I listen to a lot of the Smiths and Joy Division. A lot of British bands are in my kind of wheelhouse right now. The Cure, I mean, which is pretty depressing, but that's who I am. My wife will walk in the morning when I'm getting in the shower, and she'll go, "Oh no," and she's in one of those moods. I'm like, "Don't worry about it. We're just fighting through it." So, but I mean, I'll also go listen to Skinner and Aerosmith, and I listen to almost everything you can listen to, except for that jazz.
Yes.
When I'm hitting, I'm not trying to listen to.
Appreciate all.
You're walking into a
appreciate all
Starbucks.
music.
Crazy.
Well, I go last, and I could say Yacht Rock, which
Yeah.
I love, which is similar to Chris's.
Yeah.
I
Yacht
found
Rock
I
is still
found a
Ben's
band that
alley.
hits my soft rock that I
It kind of does.
Steely Dan.
Dan. What's
Ugh.
hate Steely Dan?
Does he
Cannot
really?
stand
Wow,
Steely Dan.
those are master
Doobie Brothers.
masters of their art.
I get
Woods.
it. I've heard all the arguments. I get roasted. I get roasted. Something about the sound of that guy's voice makes the hair on the back of my neck.
So since that's
I've
kind of
heard
already
all
taken,
the
I'll go with
arguments.
they call it new wave.
Oh, yeah,
which is
new
kind
wave,
of the
New wave rock.
like the 80s. English,
yeah.
Cure, things you
English,
see in
yeah.
the 80s, like
Cure.
movies, like anything from a soundtrack.
yeah,
from
from
the
a John
1980s.
Hughes movie. Yeah,
Exactly.
I just
from a
love
John
16
Hughes movie.
Candles over here.
Love those sort of things. All right, let's get back to some baseball talk. It's our 97.3 The Fan Padres Roundtable presented by Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. I can't ignore it. I think Woods would like me to, but the hot button issue in baseball, of course, this week was Rob Manfred lifting the permanently ineligible Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and others off his banned list. Now, I said on our show, I thought he still has a 0% chance of making the Hall of Fame, that he is still not going to get voted in. I was going to be shocked. Odds makers disagree. I saw one site had him at 83% to get in the Hall of Fame. So am I wrong about this? Tony, do you think Pete Rose is going to get in the Hall of Fame now that he's off the banned list?
As my good partner Chris schooled me on, odds makers are basically predicting what we think is going to happen, and of course we think that. But the folks who are voting, I think, along with you, there, Ben, that I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the Athletic article that came out yesterday. They interviewed a bunch of guys, different eras, Jim Palmer, Cott. There's so many names and a lot of those guys from that era. Tony La Russa was another one who says he's had conversation with the guys like Stan Musial, guys who were from that era. And there's a lot of hard feelings about what Pete did. And that's not even talking about some of the things off the field aside from the gambling. And so although he is eligible, I find it hard to believe that he's going to have enough votes to get in.
Chris, I know it's not the baseball writers who will all vote on him. The Eras committee does usually have a couple of writers on him, but I promise you, everybody who is on that committee, when he comes up for a vote, I believe it's in 2027, they will all have one thing in mind, and part of that will be the image of baseball, what they want to, the protection of the sport, and they all feel strongly and passionately about baseball. And I can't see, if 5 people vote against Pete Rose in that committee, he will not make the Hall of Fame. I don't see a scenario at all where you get in a room of 16 people and there aren't 5 heavily anti-Pete Rose people in that room.
Yeah, because you're saying that 11 can be all in for Pete Rose. First, I just want to say that I think that he eventually should just get in. It's time. Put all the negative baggage on his plaque and let the people who go to the Hall of Fame forevermore determine what they think of Pete Rose. I cannot help but love watching and thinking of watching him play baseball. And I still wish there was a little more Pete Rose and almost all of the guys I see lazily run down the first base line in this day and age. That said, he's not going to get in at all, I don't think, on the first ballot in 27. I don't think anybody wants to be responsible for breaking the hearts of so many anti-Pete Rose people by putting him in right away. But I think over time he will get in, yes. Our lifetime, that's a closer call. But I think, yes, eventually they'll finally, just like we never thought they'd never make him eligible again, I think eventually he'll make it.
Braden?
I hate the politics of the Hall of Fame. I think what it is in terms of like a museum standpoint, I'm all in for. I hate these arguments, debates. I feel like the older you get, the more you get into these type of things. So
you're saying I'm really into it?
No, I just know people that are older than you that are super into it, and I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't really care.
What's the debate?
Just with like getting guys in, and like there's always I don't really care who gets into the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. And I don't know if that's probably a negative attitude. I'm not into Hall of Fames at all. I like the history of it, but I kind of agree with Chris. Like, I feel like, it's hard. To me, it's hard. It's like, do you want to, there's some people that done a lot of bad things in life that are really good at sports. Do you want them representing your sport? And I understand that argument. I understand the argument too of like, well, he was really good at our sport. We can't tell the story of our sport without having him in. I almost feel like you got to be thinking about what he did as the athlete. And then, as Chris said, put in everything that's about his life as in history of this is what this player was, and let the people decide that go determine their opinions on him. I'm not super into the Hall of Fame. I think you could go either way. I don't have a passionate opinion about it either way. I agree with Chris, though. I think eventually he probably gets in, but I think it's going to be some time. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, let's again put everything that he supposed that he's been accused of doing off the field. He gambled on baseball while he was in the game. Yes. And that is like the number one rule, that because here's the real deal. Once we as viewers think that it's not real anymore and that it is predictable, we lose interest, that the game goes away. And so he did break that rule. Now that he's passed on, though, I think that he served, in a way, he served his sentence at this point.
The ultimate sentence.
in terms of what he was able to do, right? So
he's lifetime ban from life now. So I mean, no worries.
So I can see the argument that he gets in, but again, those rules are in place for a very specific reason.
And it's not like in this day and age where you can gamble on your phone and you got guys and people are getting popped all over the place right now of gambling on other sports that they're not a part. He was accused of gambling on games he was a part of, regardless if it was for or against. And that was in a time where it's not like he's just cruise on his phone. I mean, think about the people that he had to be involved with to make this stuff happen. Like it's a little bit different comparison than some of the athletes are getting dinged right now.
It opens the door for Tucapita Marcano someday, Ben. Who is,
Braden, you mentioned, tell the history of the sport. I don't have any problem, Matt, with, hey, there's an exhibit on baseball in the 1970s. Of course, Pete Rose is part of that story. You can have memorabilia of Pete Rose and have exhibits that talk about Pete Rose there and what an impact he had on the game.
But does he need a bust?
I'm talking about specifically honoring the man with a bust alongside people like Tony's dad in that same room with those busts. And if it ever got to that point, I would certainly at least hope that bust includes a really big footnote that describes what Pete Rose did. That we can't just in 80 years, when my great grandkids go to Cooperstown and they look, well, that Pete Rose must have been, wow, hell of a guy, 4,000 whatever hits, and boy, he was amazing. And there's no mention. It's got to be a mention.
There has to be a mention. I didn't really know much about Pete Rose growing up, but I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot in the last couple of days about Pete Rose and some of the stuff that he did outside of baseball. Dating minors, is not something that I can get behind. And I believe I was trying to look for it on my phone. I couldn't find it, but like the qualifications, you have to be I'm just going to paraphrase, be a good person and give back to the community. And I know there's other guys in the Hall of Fame.
And that's the slippery slope, though. And that's why and it wasn't that I was putting aside what he did.
No, I know.
Because what he has been accused of doing, I don't think any of us can get behind. But there are guys in there that have done same, if not worse, that are already in the Hall of Fame. So that's why I said you got to kind of remove that stuff and just focus in on the baseball rule that he broke.
I like what Ben said. Have an exhibit of the 70s.
For sure.
Pete Rose is in it. You can explain what happened there, but I don't know that he could be in the same breath as someone like your dad, Tony.
Correct.
Yeah.
He'll never be in that breath.
No, I don't.
Even if they put his plaque up there.
But that's the thing. They put the plaque up there. Then he's considered one of those guys.
I don't know. O.J. Simpson's plaque is up, his bust is there, right?
You got to be thinking like Ben said, like his great grandkids, right? Like in the future, these guys are. Think about kids now. Kids now don't even know about like kids I coach in football. They have no idea who Antonio Cromartie was. They have like no idea. And he was like, oh, isn't that the dad of the kid that plays at Modern Day? That's what they think of that, right? And so like that's just recent history. think about like down the road, they're just going to look, read, and then everything usually at the Hall of Fame is like, look, pro everything that guy did. So we all have some type of knowledge of him. But in the future, what the Hall of Fame is for, you're gonna have people that have zero knowledge about these athletes, like us, with some of the guys that played in like the 1920s.
All right, last thing, and Chris actually sent me a text this morning, and I don't want to get into necessarily the debate of the numbers, but he said, who's a guy you think should belong in the Hall of Fame that's not? Don't make that argument. I just want you to tell me a player that you absolutely love, like your personal Hall of Famer that you watched. He's not in there now, so you can't pick like Tony Gwynn. It's not necessarily your favorite or the best player you ever watched, but someone that is underappreciated for what they did on a baseball field. And Chris, give me an argument, someone that you feel is underappreciated.
I could take the rest of the time by supporting this guy's case. I won't, but I wouldn't have sent you the question if I didn't have an answer. The Hall of Famer that is not actually a Hall of Famer is Steve Garvey. And all you have to do is go back and see what he did with the Dodgers prior to even coming to join the Padres. He's one of the greatest postseason clutch hitters ever. And he was right at the top of the list among his contemporaries. His overall numbers are not the same as guys that came after him, but in the 70s, his numbers are very favorable to the rest of the people he played with.
Tony, who do you think is an underappreciated player that you watch?
You kind of changed my answer when you said the underappreciated part. I would say a guy like Kenny Lofton is a guy, if you go back, you look at his numbers, they were really good, and he was a good postseason performer. On top of that, he was one of the best defensive center fielders. He was the last of the true leadoff guys before we kind of have moved off of it. I think that'd probably be the guy I'd choose.
He likes him because Kenny Lofton's like his dad. Kenny Lofton also played point guard.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Arizona.
Woods, I know you appreciate a good baseball player, someone who goes under the radar sometimes.
My first love in baseball was probably Don Mattingly. I just loved Donnie Baseball, man. I love the nickname.
That's my manager.
He was the glove, the power, robbed by injury, his back. But he was my first baseball player I absolutely fell in love with and would defend forever. I loved Donnie Baseball. Loved him.
He should be in. No question.
Braden?
I don't think he has Hall of Fame numbers. He had a really good career. I've gotten to know him, over the last couple of years. And I'm going to go with my guy, Jermaine Dye. I think Jermaine Dye is I think people forget about him. He was World Series MVP in 2005 when the White Sox won the World Series. Local here to San Diego now. He's a great individual, great family. And if you ever talk to Jermaine Dye for everything that he's accomplished in his life, you would have no idea he played baseball aside from looking at him like, this guy's got to be a pro athlete. He's gigantic. True. But he doesn't talk about it, and he's very humble, really good golfer now. But I think Jermaine Dye is a little undervalued, underutilized.
Matt, you got one for us?
You got one for us? I've been looking. I've been looking. Growing up, I didn't have much of a baseball historian family. It was more football. But just looking through, don't hold me to this. The one name I saw, Tommy John. I mean, there's a surgery named after him, so there you go.
Guy went on ChatGPT.
He did. He went to ChatGPT.
No, it was baseballhistory.com. Stadium Talk.
Hey, Chris and I know you got to be careful with his websites he goes to.
I've heard that before. I want to pick a Padre. I don't think there's anyone that is not in the Hall of Fame that has anywhere near decent numbers that isn't already there that played for the Padres, but I'll just give it to the Cy Young lefty, Randy Jones. The guts to go up there and throw the ball 65 miles an hour to major league batters and get them out. His numbers would never get there, but too much fun to just have that kind of career and win a Cy Young award and have 20-win seasons and just throw two of them. Slop.
Yeah.
Pitch an hour and a half games, man.
Well, tip of the cap to Kyle Hendricks last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he
pitched. How about Barry Bonds, by the way?
That's what he changed. That's what was going to be my answer. He's not underappreciated.
I was going to say McGuire, but I think he's somewhat similar.
Yeah, then it just gets into a steroid. Should they be in the Hall of Fame or not? I didn't exactly want to go there. All right, we have reached the end of our time. Once again, thanks to our great sponsor, Roundtable Pizza. It really is pizza royalty. You can check this out if you missed any of it online during the Chris and Gwynn program later today. Usually you guys replay it on a Thursday.
Yes, 5 o'clock.
Outstanding, unless you're already listening to it at 5 o'clock. And we will be back next Thursday, see how the Padres do, wrap up the Vetter Cup series against the Seattle Mariners, and then back on the road again. But for our great panel of Matt Scraby, Stephen Woods, Tony Gwynn, Braden Soprenet, Chris Ello, I'm Ben Higgins. Thanks for joining us right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.